Hello, everyone. Welcome to Brewcast episode 12. Let the games begin. I am Q,
Brewer.
and we have a lot of good stuff for you today. So, we know that everybody's feeling the struggle, or starting to feel the struggle, or about to feel the struggle this week because the government has been shut down for a month. Um, it seems to be pretty apparent to me, I don't know if you disagree with me, that it is a Democrat caused situation over a continuing resolution. I think that we discussed it previously, but
Yeah, from what I've gathered, it's the same CR that they have passed multiple times in a row now. And the overall, how do I say, problem is that Democrats are wanting a bunch, like $1.5 trillion worth of stuff added in that just doesn't, that the American people voted for. I mean, there are some that do. And yeah, it's political games, and they're keeping people at, how do you say, they're using them as a tool to try to use emotional blackmail on the Republicans to, get what they want. And it's not actually in the betterment for them. So it's more Democrat shenanigans.
it doesn't seem like it's in the betterment of anybody. So we're going to start off the day with a video
Agreed.
of looting allegedly already starting, and there have been calls for mass theft. There's been calls for robbing people in the parking lot of stores because of the bank cards or SNAP benefits being down. But we're gonna open up with that, but then we have a couple other things that we're gonna get into. We're gonna take a look at kind of the Dearborn politics and religion situation, and maybe kind of how that ties in towards the Democrat Party, because Michigan is predominantly Democrat. Um, you know, we can get into all of the different offices at some point. And then the next section we have is we're going to take a look at women today. We're going to be the best misogynists that we can to make everyone proud of us. That's totally
God.
it's totally a joke. I
Yeah,
heard
I know.
I heard you groaning already. I was like, God, somebody's gonna take that out of context. Fine, fine. If you take that out of context, fuck you. Is it 30 seconds? Okay, we're more than 30 seconds in. We're good. I'm not gonna get us banned. So then we have, we're gonna take a look at uh, the title changed for something involving Israel. Or foreign involvement in the Charlie Kirk assassination, as well as take a look at a clip that Ian Carroll found and was discussing, and I found a specific section. We want to look into that. So we're going to touch the Charlie Kirk topic again, because I know that there's something funny. It just those things that doesn't sit right. It's one of those things that just doesn't sit right. And then the last
Yep.
section we're going to get into kind of the digital ID privacy problem again, and we're going to take another swing at that and kind of how and where that's popping up in the real world. Um, I'm super excited. So let's go ahead and get into the first video. Is there anything that you want to say before we get into this video that Brewer found for us, by the way? So Brewer is the one to thank for all of the amazing stuff bringing us today.
Oh, just I guess the guy. Go ahead and bring it up if you want.
Okay.
That this is Kramer says. I've been seeing a lot of his stuff,
It's
and
November.
he does like 3 or 4 of these videos every day, it seems like. And this guy is definitely going full tilt on everything that's going wrong that you and I, at least as we show here. Um, Basically what's going on with the country, and he's just very brash about it, which I can be as well. So I resonate with this guy a bit, and this video is just perfect.
So
So,
so
or
this
at
is a
least to
guy
start
like
it off.
just like leans into it, and just because I am honestly a believer of just play into the insanity. Like instead of letting them double down for them, and then see if they're like, whoa, that's too far.
No, he is just saying exactly what people are thinking in general, from what I can tell. He's one of those people who are willing to stick their neck out and say the things that people don't want to say. And this is basically what he does. There's like some of his videos get real heated. but he's a fairly down to earth guy. I think, from what I understand, because I've only noticed this guy a couple months ago now, he actually did a podcast or something similar, like a show or whatever. And he stopped it for a while, probably because of what the Biden administration, stuff like that, was doing to a lot of right wing commentators. But he started doing it again, and he's not got a massive following, but he's growing rapidly. So
It's up to 73K on Twitter. That's pretty good.
yeah,
I don't
his
I
YouTube
don't
videos aren't
understand
doing
how
very
you can
good.
have numbers for pronouns, but maybe that's just some newfangled thing. I'm
What
joking,
do you
of
mean
course.
numbers for pronouns?
His pronouns are 45, 47.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. Yeah, gotcha.
All right, let's take a look at let's see what he says.
First, those EBT cards are empty. Let's see how things are going in the streets.
Come here, Pat. You run, you're in trouble. Oh, 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 oh! You try to hit me?
So hold on. It looks like a cop pulling up and it says shoplifters crash. Okay, so this is a cop pulling up to person with a mask on, wearing a hat. A second person with a mask and a bag. Everybody's running.
You try to hit me? Did you just try to hit me?
And they get in the car, that, license plate. I mean, come on, people. Then they deployed the spike strip.
That's a spike strip?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, it is.
And they got him.
That's him yanking it. Yeah, that's him yanking it across the road. Oh, wow. So that's where the car, okay, so the car continues off into the bushes. You don't see anything like that.
Okay, go grab Sam and go.
Lay down on the ground now! Get down on the ground!
I'm glad that she was okay.
Turn around.
Yeah.
Turn around.
She didn't look as okay, but they're both walking. That's a bad day. Okay, so this is, oh man, there's a bunch of videos. I even saw one that I thought about playing today and would have gone perfect with this. Why are we seeing this? I mean, it's the EBT. Actually, there's more to this. Sorry.
On the other side of BP. So they all had to swim.
Oh, hold on.
We caught them because they can't really drive very well, and they drove the car off into a pond on the other side of BP. So they all had to swim to us.
Over candles. I feel terrible.
Why?
I
We don't,
mean,
this Flagler County, we don't play.
So they took 38 candles? Yeah. $1,000.
And that wraps up our case of burning the candle at both ends.
Oh, good line. That's a good line, man. Hey, you should reach out to him and see if he'd ever come be on an episode with us. I want to start inviting people.
I was definitely thinking about it. It's like he would be an interesting character to have here. So
just to have that type of personality in some of these conversations. Okay, so why are we going to see more of this?
Oh yeah, absolutely. But one thing I wanted to point out is the fact that it was stealing of candles.
$1,000 of candles. Hey,
Yeah, why?
Hey, listen. Hold on. I got you. Okay, listen, to all of you people out there that are going to be stealing candles, here's your excuse. Not really. This is not legal advice or any advice. This is not advice at all. But what I would say, allegedly, hypothetically, would be that if you get a clay terracotta pot, so you go to you want to get the candles with the terracotta pots, so that way you can have heaters in the wintertime, because it's going to be getting cold out, right? What these women were doing, stealing the candles, was preparing for winter. That's what it is. They were going to do a moonlight candle vigil for someone.
Yeah, but I mean, they obviously were gonna take them to resell them. They're not just there to do what you're saying. I know the joke, but it's interesting that during the first day of the EBT things, they thought it would be a good idea to try to steal candles instead of going and getting food, and that when there's going to be a heightened alert of what's going on, because there have been police that are staking out grocery stores in various towns.
Wouldn't that make candles the next easiest target because it's not food? All the police are somewhere else.
Yeah, but I don't know what store that they were in.
That's true.
So, but the fact that they were doing it that way, it's actually, yeah. Go to the toward the end where the lady's holding the bag. It'll actually say there.
Aeropostale.
Um, Aereo Post,
That's an Aeropostale bag.
Aeropostale. Okay.
That's a clothing store. That's like a. It used to be like a skinny, preppy person, expensive
Oh,
clothing
okay,
store.
okay. So their reasoning may have been to try to go in there and steal because people are going to be they're going to be focused on the grocery stores today, so or yesterday or whatever. So maybe
No,
that's the reason why.
no, I think that bag is just. I don't think that bag's
Oh,
for
what
the
they
store.
used.
The bag's what they
Ah, I
use to put
gotcha.
it in. Yeah, because
Okay. Yeah, it
you
looks
can
like
see
it's
in the
just the
background
candles.
here they just have.
Yeah.
It was just a candle store.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
I mean, I don't know about
Anyways,
you, but I don't ever really buy candles.
I don't.
I mean,
I have some, but
even if they were on sale, even if even if someone came to my door and tried to sell me like expensive candles for like $1 a piece, I'd be like, nah, I'm good.
yeah, I wouldn't touch them either.
I mean, interesting
I mean, I
choice.
have some emergency candles, but that's about it.
Those are called
Anyway,
flares.
but not quite, but yeah.
But so I guess the world's in a complicated spot right now because of the EBT thing and the banking thing, and
Mm,
it seems like the right approach would be to stand tall and just say, "Hey, you're gonna have to figure this stuff out," and then the police, I guess, are gonna have to try to arrest all these people, but you can't. So when does that become a national security threat?
when the Koreans get back on the roofs.
What?
The Rodney King beating in LA, when that whole situation occurred, the black individuals who were doing, mostly black individuals who were doing the riots, were going through various different, the micro cities inside of LA, and they went to Koreatown
Mm-hmm.
and they were ransacking then, like the whole area. So it got to the point where Koreans started arming themselves and they were literally on top of the roofs. And firefights did break out, and there was one Korean that did die from it, and he was like considered a national hero, because he was helping defend, the different stores and stuff around there. So
That
the whole Korean community came together and basically fended off the most of the protests from entering and destroying their shops.
was that the old LA riots? Same thing?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
yes, the Rodney King beating. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So when we get to the point where I mean, I say it mostly as a joke, but when we get to a point where people are having to stand on top of the roofs to defend themselves, to defend their property against, people coming and stealing stuff, I mean, that's when we hit a full-blown national security problem. And the problem is, it won't just be contained to LA; it'll be everywhere.
Well, it's not just
And
that
it's
though. There's that's only one element of forces that would be a problem.
oh yeah, 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 yeah.
I mean, we'll
But
end up touching on that later, anyways. I think.
yeah, that's kind of in one of the many inflection points. So once we hit to that point is when we know we're in a really big problem. But I mean, honestly, I don't think it'll get to that point. I think that something's going to happen here in the next week that's going to give the EPT benefits back. But they did need, whatever they did for whatever plans someone has, did need them to shut down, and we're going to see some kind of plan unfolding this week. I think I
I
don't
I
idea
think
what, but
I think I saw a post that Trump was gonna push for the Senate to end the filibuster.
yes, to go into nuclear option. It's a problem. I mean, that's a good thing and a bad thing. But if they do employ the nuclear option, it would end it. The problem is that later on the Democrats will go at crazy with it if they
Yep.
ever were to get back into power. That's a problem.
Okay, I think we need to be
So
fucking honest though. The next time they get into power and they have the same levers again, they're gonna do it anyways.
yes. Oh yeah, that's what
So
everyone's saying. That's what
whether we
all the
do it or
people,
not,
political pundits are saying. Yeah.
yeah, whether we do it or not, there's no incentive to not do it.
Yep.
That's the
I agree.
thing. Like that's fucked up.
Yeah. So I mean, I mean, we didn't cover, and I can show it here, but a quick sidebar is that I did see a post or video of one of the Congress people, I forget from which state, was a Democrat, talking about how President AOC, is going to, if she wanted to, when she's president, to conduct strikes and kill people in the same manner that Trump is engaging narco terrorists out in the middle of the ocean. So basically the senator conflated a narco terrorist with an American.
That sounds
So it
about
just
right.
kind of shows,
That sounds like a typical
yeah,
Democrat. I mean, it sounds like half of the
yeah,
Republicans too, if you're honest. But
yeah. It's just getting to a point where people are okay with murder, and it's escalating, and that is a situation that I don't think a lot of people can truly grasp how that is going to transform this country in a way that is not going to end well for over a decade. So, but
well, I mean, I think that will. I don't see the pieces for it yet, but having the ability, I don't know, that'll tie into censorship at some point. The control.
yeah. Well, since we're kind of talking about this a little bit, it's when something happens, it's going to happen overnight.
Oh yeah,
And
or in the middle of the night, like
um,
it usually does.
well, what I mean is that basically right now, majority of the country wants to be left alone, right? I'm sure you saw one of my posts that I
Yep,
did about that quote,
yep.
and
Why don't you read that
that
quote for
is
everybody?
I was going to, but to kind of preface it, this is what is going to happen. I think it's gotten to a point now where the people who want to be left alone are going to be forced to act, and when that happens, the world will not be the same. The last time that happened, like a really good example, is the Crusades. And I'll just read the quote after that. The most terrifying force of death comes from the hands of men who wanted to be left alone. They try so very hard to mind their own business and provide for themselves and those they love. They resist every impulse to fight back, knowing that forced and permanent change of life that will come from it. They know following the path of least resistance is a walk to extinction, which is why, when forced to take up violence, men who wanted to be left alone fight with unholy vengeance against those who murdered their former lives. They fight with raw hate and drive that cannot be fathomed by those who are merely play acting at politics and terror. And I have seen this firsthand when I was deployed in Afghanistan. So when I say that people do not understand, you do not understand what will happen. And the ethnicity that encapsulates this the most over anything else, anybody else, you want to guess who it is?
Mm, probably white people.
Correct. White people want to be left alone mostly. But if you force their hand, you get the British Empire. You get the Crusades. History
You get the
is
United
rhyming
States.
right now. Yeah. So we're about to see what's going to happen when people are back into a corner. The people you don't want to back into a corner, because the whites are the minority of the world. We make up 8% of the population now. 8 to 12%, I forget the exact number. So that might begin to change if people continue down the path they're at. I so hope I am wrong, but I see it. I see too many lines being crossed, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, that was a good ad. Yeah, well, I mean, to lead us straight into the next section, people that don't want to be left alone, or people that should never be left alone, are our politicians. So I
Yeah.
know that, it's going to be obvious at some point. Like I'm very close to Detroit. It's not hard to find me. So Dearborn is actually very, very close to Detroit. So this is a politician from Dearborn, Michigan, and I know that we discussed this on some previous episodes. Seeing as how I said I would get involved in local politics. So if it's not that far away, maybe I could drive there and go participate in their city council or something and say hi. But this is Louis Rossman, I know that I keep bringing him up, is because he's doing shit right, and he deserves to be spread as far as possible right now. Honestly, like I'm telling you, man, first political party to take up this cause will become the predominant political party after the next 4 to 8 years. But let's just go ahead and let him introduce the idea, and we'll hear from the words from the politician, and then that'll kind of lead us into where we're going with the rest of this section.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. Today
Loud.
I want to play you something that a politician in Dearborn, Michigan said, and I want to see if you can tell the messed up dystopian part about what he said before I point it out.
I said I would vote for this every single time, and I'll say it again. Camera technology and your expectation of privacy when you're driving around is none, and there is no expectation of privacy when you're driving a stolen car. You don't have that expectation. That's the law of the United States.
Law United States.
I'm going to ask you that question. What did you pick up on it?
Probably the fact when he said none. You have no expectation of privacy when you're in public. None.
So
Which,
okay,
you know.
okay. So now the primary topic that we've been dealing with lately with Lewis has been the flock camera systems, and they are here. They are in the area. They do exist. This is a politician saying that you have no expectation of privacy because, I mean, essentially he's assuming everyone is a criminal with the way that he worded it.
I see what you're saying.
The mindset.
Yeah, because he did immediately say if you have a stolen car, so he is painting with a broad brush.
If you have an expectation of privacy, you don't on a public road. That's not true, because whenever these laws came out and they were derived, we did not think about having AI technology that could track you everywhere that you go.
Yep.
But that goes to show you the mindset that exists in I'm pretty sure, entirely Muslim city council, primarily Muslim police department, and I'm pretty sure majority Muslim or largest population of Muslims in the United States in city, in a single spot. That's where we are. That's the mindset that exists. So that's just to say that the politician that got elected to say that was put there by people that think like that, or were tricked into believing that he didn't think like that, maybe. But it seems to track more along the lines of probably they do think like that, just based on other examples and things that we've seen just in the last couple of weeks. Do you disagree with that?
Well, not at all. To kind of add more to that point is I just connected a dot. All those, of course, there's everything that's happening with the UK and the grooming gangs and everything else. To kind of use that as an example, that there are been interviews being done of the Muslim migrants, and they were saying, like, one was saying is like, I ended up raping a 14-year-old girl, and he's sitting here talking about this on fucking camera. She's like, I couldn't control myself because she was pretty and everything else. They, as a culture, don't really have much of personal accountability or anything else, just from, my observations, personal observations. And so they, as a society, have decided that Big Brother control is needed because we cannot control ourselves.
Because they cannot control themselves.
Correct. That's what I mean. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was talking about from their perspective. And and this is the consequence of it. And because they just, from a very young age, are never really taught that self-control. It's always the system. It's always Islam that is the control. And I think that's one of the major differences between, Western versus, Middle East cultures, is that we are taught the, consequences of actions. Well, maybe not so much right here.
Not so much anymore.
Currently.
Yeah.
But in the past, I mean, when I was a kid, in the 80s and early 90s, absolutely was consequences for their actions. My dad made sure to beat my ass once or twice to make sure that I knew there were consequences to the action, and I deserved it.
Yeah.
So
now hold on on that point. Can you look back on that time, or in that moment? Did you know that you deserved it, or did you look on it later and came back?
Oh, yeah, actually, like later and came back. Yeah, especially. It wasn't probably until I was in my early 30s till I truly understood. And
Amazing.
which just goes to show that, lessons early impact you later on in life, just like trauma early will impact you throughout the rest of your life. But I am firmly in the belief that everybody needs to have a little bit of trauma in their life, not, over the top, which I'm not going to go into examples of, but a little bit in order to ground them inside of reality. But I'm not, there, because God, that's a whole topic in itself is quote unquote healthy trauma. But that's a psychological discussion for another day. But yeah,
I'm going to traumatize you. I'm going to traumatize everybody right now.
here we go.
I can't resist. It's just too good. It's just too good. Wait, hold on. We'll get back to serious in a second.
Oh, when the coup was happening.
Yes. I remember watching that whenever it first hit, and it popped up the other day. Sorry, I just wanted to throw that in there.
Oh, it's fine. It's good to break it up. But yeah, trauma.
You were saying a little trauma is good for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, look at Gen X versus millennials versus Gen Z, and Gen Alphas. I think is going back up, but I think I think it's started going up with late Gen Z. But it's just the amount of the lack of discipline which occurred, and millennials, our generation. Well, I'm considering myself more Gen X at this point. I'm kind of in between, but the millennial generation, as they got the younger millennials, definitely have a problem with self control.
I
But
do.
it's starting to pick back up with Gen Alpha, though, majorly with Gen Alpha. The night and day difference between the generation of millennials and Gen Alpha is crazy. They're the most racist generation since the 50s, quite honestly.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, I don't fault them for it because what's happening. I mean, it's. I mean, I don't, of course, don't agree with racism, but they see the writing on the wall, so and they're acting accordingly. They're not going to allow themselves. They're not allowing themselves, I should say, to be told that they are a problem when they have done nothing to cause it. So they're just pushing back on it, and they being non-whites have created a generation of racist whites. And like I just alluded to the quote before, when you start backing us into a corner, there's going to be a problem. And this isn't a threat, this is a warning, but they're not listening. So,
well, they also don't care, and they also openly still call for violence, and they think it's funny.
yeah, and it's going to bite them in the ass because the
Oh,
problem is that it's a powder keg. Like we keep using that term, and the match is lit. It's about to be thrown, and people don't understand that. And there's even Canada right now. There's about to be a massive problem for them. So
interesting.
I'm warning,
Tell you
but
what,
no one's listening.
you give that warning 4 tabs, and I think we can revisit it.
4 tabs, sorry.
Mm-hmm. Four tabs on the four more topics, and then we'll
Oh,
end up back
gotcha,
on
gotcha.
it.
Sorry, misunderstood your meaning there. Gotcha.
Yeah, what I want to just call attention to here was the location, the mindset, just to kind of get us in the maybe the framework that exists, because a lot of stuff is happening now. A lot of conversations are happening around Muslims and the different types of people on the media and people's interpretation of things. And I'm really grateful for Elon buying X, just because it seems like it has made a very big difference in being able to expose lies, like just outright lies. But there's also like the monetization aspect of X too, that some people are
Yeah.
not happy with, because it incentivizes you to lie just to get attention.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, at the same time, if you're someone that can take down those type of people, those accounts, and I think that we're getting better at identifying those people and stopping those accounts early, because those are the ones that they get random bits of traction, or they just build a believable enough logical fallacy or stack of logical fallacies to go viral, to make a narrative. and then all that does is waste valuable time.
Yeah, there's also something else happening with that too. I don't know if you're going to cover this, but people are making accounts in general and building up an audience, and then they're either selling them or they just switch the account over to something else. And so they have like 80,000 followers, but they just changed the name, deleted a lot of the previous stuff, and then boom, they start posting other stuff on a completely different topic. And it's to make money. So so people are actually grifting a huge amount right now. And I know Elon is trying to tackle and trying to figure out a way to overcome the problem, but it is monetization is the core problem there.
Yeah, I mean, I think like I don't know if that's something you could ever rely on AI to do, and I feel like they're hard committing, like most companies are in the AI direction. But you meant,
Possibly.
I mean, just because of
But
Grok, like if you have Grok, wouldn't it be a good thing if your AI was trained to do more stuff that you want to do anyways?
yeah, I mean, to remove people, human conscious bodies from the equation of censorship or moderation, probably be a better term for this one.
And if that was successful,
Yeah.
would that not create a perfect blueprint for like a global security policy to police people?
Yeah, but that will turn into actual think crimes, and we'll have the Minority Report. And if you know Psychopaths, the anime, that is an eventuality if we're not careful. So you got to be Psychopaths plot kind of different than AI, but anyways, that's a whole other topic. But the thought crimes and they'll begin to be able to scan you in order to figure out your criminality. You actually have a score, and if you have too high of a criminality, you're basically booted from society.
Like a social credit
So
score.
similar, but not quite the same. But yeah, it's the same general concept.
All I just need to make sure is that my Neuralink has Wi-Fi access, and then you can scan away.
It's actually one of the reasons why I will never get Neuralink. I don't care, whatever. I mean, I will be one of the 10 people on this planet, that aren't jacked into the interwebs at 24/7. I like my autonomy a little too much.
Would
And
it be
considering, yeah.
would it be a different situation if you were quadriplegic and it could give you the ability to walk again?
Oh yeah, absolutely, I'd get it. But that's an extreme situation. That's not that's the edge case trying to prove the point, which
It's not the
is
entertainment
false. It's a
value
fallacy.
aspect of it. It's the function and practical use of it.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. Like
Okay.
I'm not going to do a Ghost in the Shell type scenario. I mean, that's just, and to me, it's absolutely insane. But I'm also 42, and once you're set in your ways, you're set in your ways. So I'm just the old man on the porch yelling at the kids to get off his lawn type situation. So.
It's always good to learn new things. It keeps you flexible.
Oh yeah, but I'm not gonna. I don't have any tattoos. I don't have any piercing. I'm not gonna have anything foreign in my body. If I can have like maybe a stent if I need it, but that's about the extent of it. So.
Okay. So you'll be okay. So we need a very good way to get you a tattoo. Got you. Kidding.
Nah,
Kidding.
not gonna happen.
Kidding.
Yeah, I know.
All right. So we mentioned we got on the Muslim topic, we got on the media topic, and the grifting topic. And I know that like I think that I've decided that I'm going to start punching a lot harder whenever I'm punching up, in terms of just like engaging. I don't think that and I just mean like if there's someone of like 10 viewers, I'm not going to like put them on blast for something, right? But if the person has millions or is making money, a lot of money, that's kind of fair game to express my thoughts.
I don't see why not.
It still feels weird just because I don't want to ever come across mean, but sometimes you just kind of have to be honest, and even if it
with
sounds
me
mean.
Yeah, well, my whole thing is kindness and trying to be kind. I mean, I'm not always successful at it, but I'm definitely, working toward that goal. But there is a limit to my kindness. And I guess to kind of go back to the quote I did before, once my kindness limit has reached, I kind of turn into what that described, not to like the full extent of, fight to the death type thing, but
Right.
I definitely, my unholy vengeance can come out, but it just happened very rarely.
Yeah, but I mean, let's be honest. Like, what the fuck are you supposed to do?
Exactly.
Here, just continue to beat me and stab me and kill me and like just have at me. I mean, technically, technically, and this is honestly, this is my one of my major pet peeves, as far as like inner struggles regarding like the whole religious aspect of Christianity. It's like, oh, just forgive them. Well, how many times am I supposed? It says turn the other cheek, so does that mean twice? Like when it where's that
That's a
line?
good discussion.
Where's that
Yeah, that's
line?
actually had a. I think I told you about before. I had a discussion with my old pastor a couple of
Yeah.
weeks ago about kind of if let's say an Islamic invasion actually occurred and they did get a foothold and they came to this little town that I'm in and um, they come here to convert or die type situation. Like, what do we do as Christians? And more specifically Lutheran Christians, because I was a part of the Lutheran Church until I left it recently for other reasons. And I'm still friends with the pastor. And he basically said, to martyr, you become a martyr in the eyes because you're not supposed to, use violence and everything else. And I just look at him and I asked him, it's like, well, if they came here, because he has 4 children
Mm-hmm.
and they were about to, take them out, what would you do? And he froze. He couldn't respond
Mm-hmm.
because he was then conflicted between being a pastor and being a father. And then he sat there, and I think he didn't really answer the question because he didn't really want to say what he would really do
Oh.
because it'd be against, being a pastor, which he would being a father. And so basically I just came to the conclusion that there are going to be a lot of Christians who will just roll over and die. I will not make a comment any further than that. Hey,
Well,
Cypress.
I'm gonna add something to that. It actually adds on to the end of it. You don't need to freeze in that situation, because even if you go back to the Ten Commandments, right? We can take it back to the Old Testament. Thou shalt not kill. There's 2 different words used in the Hebrew language for kill. One means
Mm-hmm.
to kill, or like one is to kill, one is to murder. So to murder would be to be the aggressor to do that, and then self-defense would fall under the to kill. So you would be defending something, like defending yourself, defending your family, and that's where some of those conversations end up or go to, I think.
Yeah. Yes. And I actually did kind of bring that up, and I think I actually convinced a pastor about biblical principle. And although he didn't say it, directly, but that's kind of my point, is that if actually I think the how I used it was from a different angle, where it's saying like we're supposed to be here, like Christians are here to worship God, and that is one of our fundamental reasons for existence as a Christian. And but we can't worship God if we don't exist. So if we defend ourselves, so we may continue that worship, is that because that is a part of the Bible. And he was like, that's an interesting perspective I hadn't thought about before.
All right.
So
So throw in free will.
it's yeah, and the way I kind of see it too is considering that we are instilled with the instinct of survival and self-preservation. Protecting ourselves is self-preservation. So I don't think that, the creator is going to get overly upset with us if we try to exist longer in his creation, and would forgive us for, fighting back to protect ourselves. And if we end up committing murder in not really murder, but, killing the other person in the process of self-defense, I don't foresee, you know, the creator getting overly upset with us.
This would be an interesting
So,
time. This would be an interesting conversation to get into with one of the pastors that I know, because he's very informed in that direction.
yeah,
He seems very good. I'm gonna see if I can get him on sometime.
yeah, I'm for it.
So I want to turn us back in the direction we were going, because we went up in the Christian direction. We're going to draw attention back to the framework that we set up with the Dearborn politician, kind of
Yeah,
how he perceives things, or how he is actually to this day ruling or engaging with the public government, doing the government things at a city level, I guess. But I wanted to take a look at Mehdi Hassan's own words, and this is a post from Libs of TikTok. And apparently, well, we'll hear it from his own words, but apparently Mehdi doesn't like that this video goes around. I don't know why. So this
push the
says
volume.
Mehdi Hassan on non-Muslims like living animals.
In Islam, the ends do not justify the means. This idea is totally alien to Islam. In Islam, what is halal, what is haram is haram. We do not bend our law, our morality for our short-term aims. Never. And we never lose the moral high ground. If we know anything as Shias of Muhammad, as Shias of Ali, as Shias of Hassan, as Shias of Hussein, we know that keeping the moral high ground is key. Once we lose the moral high ground, we are no different from the rest of the non-Muslims.
He makes a very good point right there for everybody to understand, especially when it comes to like understanding the precedent with things. Your moral high ground matters. That's, I mean, the more, like, if like, let's look at Charlie Kirk, for example, right? The moral high ground that was lost by all of the people virtue signaling and all of these, you know, all of these people fighting for rights and freedom and all of that stuff. Well, they lost a lot whenever Charlie was, you know, murdered. Same thing will happen. And I mean, that's why you don't see the right, or at least what most people consider the normal right. Because I believe that once you get towards the far right and the far left, they're essentially the same. So it makes the argument for one side or the other always accurate, because people on the far right, you know, if we look at history and all the framework, would be, you know, Hitler's the easy reference. But now we have on the far left the people that are just willing to kill you just because of your thoughts. Yep. You know, so no matter what direction you take it, you just have to look at the extremes. Or you just, you know, they use the extremes. But this is where I think we're going to have America's going to have an issue, especially whenever we include the activism of, you know, feminists, the young people who may be uninformed or not really be experienced with the world and some of the realities of it. There is. I think they're going to try to assume the moral high ground for most of the conversations and topics, and I think that that's going to end up aligning with the porn ban, with the censorship conversations. Oh well, Christians think this is bad, but we think this is also bad. Let's ban it. And I think that Michigan's going to be a really good state to watch this happen. I just wanted to add that in there.
No, it makes sense. It's a good point.
From the rest of those human beings who live their lives as animals, bending any rule to fulfill any desire. Once we do that, we are lost.
So it's the danger of that is there's truth in what he says, but if you also look at the framing of it, he's like, what is halal, you know, what is good, what is bad, what is bad, and they will never change. And they will do anything that they need to make that change possible, to fulfill Sharia law.
Yep. Including lie and deceive.
That is called taqiyya. That's one of the 5 or 6 ways.
In Islam, to believe is to know. To disbelieve is not to know. That is what it fundamentally comes down to. It is to remain ignorant, to cover up knowledge. After all, what is kafir? Kafir comes from the root word, which means to cover up, to conceal. The kafir is the one who covers up that knowledge which is clear. The French Orientalist scholar Lamens, he once wrote that the Quran is not far from considering unbelief, disbelief, as an infirmity, as an illness, as a disease of the human mind. Subhanallah. Non-Muslims point this out to us.
Okay, it's kind of hard to hear, but the line I wanted to point out was actually kind of obscurely written just because of the pixelation. It says kafar comes from the root word, which means to cover up, to conceal. A kafar is one who covers up the knowledge which is clear. Interesting. Isn't that what a grifter does? Isn't that what grifters do? Like they obscure or cover up knowledge, even though it's like everyone's like, hey, this is fucking obvious. And they're like, no, trans women are women. No, they're not. They're different.
Yeah, but that goes into, like you're talking about the monetization aspect from before, if you think about on X, as well as, you know, trying to, it's a brainwash technique as well, is to if you say something enough, eventually people begin to believe it, or at least say that they believe it in order to follow the crowd. And over time, especially when you start looking at the next generation, as kids, are brought up, they don't have that context yet as an adult would, to know that they're doing this just to fit in. They actually begin to believe it to their core, which is one of the reasons why you see this escalating, trans and gay movement, or amount of people who claim to be trans and gay going up. And it could be because, people are more open and willing to accept it. So people are coming out more, but at the same time, it could also be because of ideological influence from a young age.
I think
So there's
it's
the argument from both
I
sides.
think it's the second one with a little bit of it just being like popular, like being presented as
Yeah.
popular and cool. Because remember, like I grew up, there wasn't a whole lot of like LGBT anything. Like it was just gay at the time. It was gay rights, and then it was okay. Well, now we need to include these other things. But the same thing that happened, because it was like, oh, it's cool and it's edgy to be gay, and I get the attention and I get validation. And then whenever that started to wane, a perverse, I guess what it appears to be, a perverse co-opt or astroturfing of the situation, where trans was brought in, and that's the new cool thing. So it's just like, kind of like, oh, goth is cool for this generation. Now this generation is something else, but now we've just gotten into like body modification to be part of culture, and that's fucking insane.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's something could talk about for probably years at this point. But yeah, 100%. So,
And that's also not to put down people that legitimately suffer from having real problems. But I would have a hard time engaging in a conversation with someone that wouldn't be like, yeah, there's definitely someone out there that's doing it just for attention. If you can't like come to that level of, hey, we're on the same page on that, you don't really have anywhere to go from there, I think.
yeah, you have to have the baseline. You have to have the understanding of even the edge cases saying, because it's not, again, going to the fallacy of an edge case is the proof, or whatever, but you can use an edge case, those edge cases as, whether or not they actually are edge cases, but use them as a baseline of understanding between two people of different ideologies.
Right.
The problem is right now is the left is refusing to even acknowledge some of that stuff, which is part of the reasons why there's not very much discourse between the right and the left right now. Actual discourse.
Yeah.
So,
All right. So we're going to keep the idea on Medi. I had a thought, but then I lost it because I didn't want to interrupt you. It's fine. It's fine. It'll come back to me. So Medi was on CNN, and this is a post, and there was a guy named Ryan James Gerdusky who told a joke. Now it might be an off-color joke, right? But let's go ahead and play that quick, and then we'll.
You're called an anti-Semite more than anyone else at this table. Yeah. And people would sit there and, no, by me. I never called you an anti-Semite. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying
I'm a supporter of the Palestinians, so I'm used to it.
Yeah, I hope your beeper doesn't go off.
So I'm a supporter of the Palestinian. I'm hoping your beeper doesn't go off. And then the panel loses their mind. They're like, you shouldn't say that. Well, I mean, it's kind of funny. I'm not going to lie. Like,
yeah,
it's an off-color joke, but it's kind of funny because the guy just admitted, hey, I support Palestinian. And well, I mean, the reason that he's referencing the beepers or the pagers or anything is because the Israeli forces ended up getting, like, beepers ended up being used by the forces, by Palestine, by Hamas. And then they had like an explosive device inside of them, and they were all detonated at certain times. Or people would go up to like a bunker and then they'd put in like their code, but that code would set off like a detonation. And then it was military stuff between Israel and Hamas. So like I don't agree with doing that stuff like that naturally, but when it gets from the real world aspect this far down to someone who promotes the ideology, it's funny because, like, in order for something to be funny, part of it has to be true, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's where. But I guess what is your takeaway on this?
From which like you did talk about lot there. Perspectives pertaining specifically to what?
Let's just start with just the clip, the joke. Let's just start with the joke.
I mean, it's gotten to the point where, you can apply humor. I mean, people are making 9/11 jokes. People are making jokes about Charlie Kirk. Whether or not I agree or disagree with them, honestly, doesn't matter. Everyone has the right to make a joke, even if it's at someone else's expense. The right to be offended is something that is only allowed in free societies. And if you are unable to come to terms of being offended, then you need to go to a place that is, quote unquote, less civilized. Because unless you're able to accept that other people can make jokes at your expense, and be okay with it, if you're unable to do it, then you're just, you should be able to, if you can dish it, you can receive it. It's kind of what I'm trying to say.
If you can dish it, you can receive it. Hold on. You can dish it, you can receive it.
And remember, say thank you.
Okay,
yeah.
So there's a meme going around of JD Vance, and for some reason you just said playing into it or joking about yourself. It seemed to fit.
Yeah. I mean, well, of course, the, current White House administration is the memes are on point. And there's even people on the left now that are coming out saying that these memes are hilarious. So they are actually reintroducing a lot of that humorous discourse back into the American culture, and it's a good thing. And people who are getting offended by it need to get offended by it, quite honestly, because it's highlighting that maybe they could be, maybe they're wrong about some things. Because the only reason why someone would actually feel offended about what anything says is because it might actually apply to them.
No.
So, yeah.
No way, dude. That's no way.
So when someone comes out and says, I'm offended, what some people don't seem to realize is that you have just admitted that whatever is offensive applies to you.
So you only get offended if part of it's true?
Correct.
So offense in comedy. Oh, interesting. I see what you're
kind of
cooking.
Funny how that goes together,
Yeah,
which is one of the reasons why, as you got authoritarian regimes that come up, comedy becomes outlawed.
That's why. That's why memes and free speech are so important, because that's how you counteract that. Even though it's the shitty side, because memes are super effective. Because laughter is super effective.
Yeah, it's communication. Comedy is one of the oldest forms of communication, and without it, you begin to get controlled. If you can't say what you really want to say, then the court of public opinion is never applied, and it's only the government court that is applied. So, which then is controlled by very few people, and it's obvious it's just authoritarianism. So. But the fact that he made that joke and then the panel of CNN, started going crazy.
Here, let's watch that.
It just shows the ideology.
Let's watch the aftermath of it. Let's watch them freak, because Mehdi gets pissed off and leaves.
The
I think.
thing is
Did
that
you just say I should die?
You should not.
No,
Did you just say I should be killed?
No, I did not say that.
Did he say that he should be killed?
No, and this is what happens a lot: is people then inject their own bias into the meaning of what someone else says instead of looking at what was said. So the fact that that individual immediately said, "Oh, you think I should die," is because that is what he was thinking about somebody else at some point. Because people who jump to conclusions like that, or jump to one specific type of frame of reference, is because they themselves have that frame of reference. And people like he's immediately coming like, I didn't mean it from that angle. No, that's not what I meant. And then I'm sure the other guy or Medi's going to come back saying, yes, you did. And basically gaslight and to say that this is your meaning because I say it's your meaning. And this is something I am very acquainted with because I was on the bad side of this for a very long time. So I see it from a mile away now.
All right.
And I've come to really understand how it works.
Let's play it out and see if you're right. Let's see how this goes.
Mm-hmm.
No, I did not say that.
Hold on. Did your guest just say I should be killed?
Hold
on live TV.
I said I hope
Guys,
you don't.
let me just stop.
See?
it.
You hope my beeper doesn't go off.
Yep. I was right.
Guys, let me just stop.
You said you hope my beeper doesn't go off.
You said you hope my beeper goes off.
No, he says he hopes your beeper doesn't go off. So he's also misrepresenting the argument.
Am I what? No, of course I'm not.
Or misrepresenting the saying, I should say.
Right, yeah.
Are you a racist,
So he's-
violent person?
Are you a racist, violent person? There's the victim.
Yeah, and then he apologized, even though he should not have.
Nope.
Because he now is giving the individual validation that he was correct. So, don't ever apologize. If you apologize, you lost the moral high ground. Like you were just saying.
The right way, I think, to handle the joke situation this was for him to say it and then just to sit quiet and then be like, is that what you really meant? And just be like, you heard what I said. That way you're not giving up any ground. And if you own that situation, like, yeah, basically what you're saying, if you start to concede ground by saying, oh, well, I'm sorry, you're right. Well, you're giving up your argument then.
Yeah, and he lost at that point, has no credibility. He lost all credibility for that panel. I'm pretty sure for the rest of this, he just, whatever. And then, like you said, if Mehdi gets up and, was that Mehdi or is it Hassan? Mehdi Hassan?
Mehdi Hassan is on the left. Yeah, all my favorite people's last name end in Hassan.
Yeah, it seems to be. But yeah, and he gets up and leaves. So that is also a show of moral high ground and holding on to the power, because he technically now holds that power as he leaves and can't lose any of it, because now the other guy can't really, confront that power.
It's winning the conversation and leaving, so you can't be contested on any of it.
Correct. Correct, which is a coward's move, but it's effective in the general populace.
Say the Muslim guy should be blown up.
I apologize
on TV.
Don't say then I apologize. You literally.
I thought you said Hamas.
You didn't think
See, they just took it and ran with it.
Yep.
So this is nothing more than a manipulation to paint someone who did not intend for the meaning to be that. I mean, there is an argument because, hope your patriot doesn't blow up, but he's making a joke. But the fact that they just dove so deep into it and not allowing someone to express themselves in a humor, but he's not directly calling for violence. So they're misrepresenting the whole situation. And this is what CNN does, and does it constantly. MSNBC is just as bad. Fox News does it as well. But it really, I guess, depends which perspective you're looking from to see which one is worse or not. But yeah, this is just an example of how the media and how people are manipulated so easily now.
I'm gonna play this out though.
Why? Because when you hear
What's funny is Rudy Giuliani said this yesterday, so you're a great guest to be here to defend Rudy Giuliani.
And he's bringing in someone outside to the situation that does not apply.
Here's what I will say.
Forget the racism.
That's right.
It's I should die.
I didn't say that. You
said,
die.
what does beeper mean? Don't
No.
give me a
See, he keeps going with it, refusing to relent, not giving up the moral high ground.
It's because it's a thread that he can pull on, and he knows that he can win the argument. So all he's doing is flaming it. All this right now is just flaming the situation. There's probably people in there saying, no, keep going with it. Keep going with it. Because there's a production room behind what's going on, guys.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Don't call us Nazis, but I'm going to threaten the brown guy as a terrorist and kill him.
Because I didn't ever say Donald Trump was Hitler.
Fucking Christ, sorry. That always pisses me off when they start going down those roads.
I want to come to the Nazi rally. I don't have to make up words and call you something. You're saying it for yourself. And what you just said right here.
See, now they're misrepresenting the whole thing.
They'll take anything that you can out of reference. See, that's what I need. I think that I need to start making posts asking for people to be mean to me.
What do you mean by that?
Just so I can get thicker skin, because I want to be prepared for crazy shit like this.
No, I mean, I'm not even worried. I guess if I've been canceled before for stupid shit. So, and the fact is that every single time or something I've been canceled for in the past, I was right in the end, like the COVID vaccine and everything else. I was right.
Yep.
Might want to bleep that out just in case, but
nope.
Yeah.
I was right too. Trust me.
So,
I will sit down with you anytime and we'll have a COVID conversation. I guarantee you that episode will have trouble. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, it seems like it's okay to talk about it mostly now, as long as we claim that we're not doctors and we're not offering medical advice.
correct. But I mean, I just even questioned the validity of the vaccine. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense because I know what mRNA was and knew it back then and everything else. And I didn't like it. And I even brought it up in a guy's Twitch chat and he went off. And I won't tell that whole story again. But yeah, so I was right. And in the end, I was right. And to this day, he has yet to say anything or anything else because he was one of those people, I will come out and say that I am wrong. He hasn't. So whatever.
Yeah, you can't be the type of person that says that and then not own it. I mean, I think I'd do a pretty good job with that. I don't think you'd be here if I wasn't, if I didn't.
Well, you know me. So.
Yeah. So the next section that we're going to kind of shift this into, I want to do just a quick recap. We had, the Dearborn politician. We had kind of the overarching ideology and efforts by people in the media, someone in the media, jokes being taken, words being misrepresented, and then we can also circle back to Michigan, back to Detroit, back to guess where? Dearborn. This was from yesterday, so this came out on the CBS Detroit channel yesterday. And I'm just gonna go and play this super quick.
And we continue to follow a story out of Dearborn, where the FBI says it stopped a potential terrorist attack from happening this Halloween weekend. 5 people.
I want you to tell me if you notice anything funny.
Between the ages of 16 and 20 are now in custody. CBS News Detroit's Heath Kalb is live outside the federal district courthouse with what we know and how residents in the area are reacting.
Yeah, Shayna, it was very early this morning when the FBI raided 3 homes, 2 in Dearborn and 1 in Ixter. Now, law enforcement has said that there is no threat to the public anymore, but it was still a shocking morning to the residents living in those neighborhoods.
I mean, they're our neighbors, so we wave and say hello. I never would have thought that I would have been living among someone that's a terrorist, It was really scary.
5 people are now under arrest after FBI agents had raided 2 homes in Dearborn and 1 in Inkster in relation to what they're calling a potential.
Just, Inkster is southwest of Dearborn. It's almost connected to it, or it is connected to it, as far as like city wise.
Yep, they're not showing the ethnicity or even the names so far.
Yeah.
Terrorist attack that was planned for Halloween weekend.
Now, I just got to ask you, what's the predominant ethnicity in this area?
Well, considering you said it earlier, isn't it Islam?
It's Muslim.
Muslim?
It's Muslim.
Yeah.
Now, it's going to be really, really interesting if, in fact, that is the case. But we've seen this before in other cities where it was like black crime and they don't release who they were. I'm going to go find out who this is.
A member of the FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force was reportedly first tipped off after seeing 2 of the 5 suspects making plans on what they're calling an online ISIS chat room.
I don't know why they feel like they can be a threat to other people. That's not how the world works.
Residents on Middle Point Street in Dearborn, where one of the 3 raids took place, told us it was a loud and traumatic morning.
We heard at least 15 to 20 gunshots. It was really scary, It just sounded like we were at war right there,
Authorities say the 5 suspects were inspired by a former member of the Michigan Army National Guard who was arrested in May for allegedly planning an ISIS-inspired attack against a U.S. Army site in Warren.
We're going to back that up and listen to that one more time.
Yeah.
Who was arrested in May for allegedly planning an
It just sounded like we were at war right there,
Authorities say the 5 suspects were inspired by a former member of the Michigan Army National Guard.
Former member of the Michigan National Army Guard. I'm pretty sure I know where the closest barracks is of theirs.
Who was arrested in May for allegedly planning an ISIS-inspired attack against a U.S. Army site in Warren. They also...
I remember seeing that. Oh, what the... I never saved that post from that back then. I saw something about that. So would this be copycat?
Possibly.
I think we're missing information because we don't know anything about the people involved.
I do.
Okay. Did you find something?
I don't remember the names, but I did come across something, and they were Islamic Muslims. So they were. I don't remember seeing anything specifically about motivation, but it was specifically targeting people celebrating Halloween, I believe. I could be wrong, but to the information that I have, but that I saw, again, I'm being very careful here, was that they were Muslim.
Okay, so can you make a note for us? I'd like to actually follow up on this because this is something that if they're obscuring it, this absolutely needs to be brought up. This needs to be, yeah. You can't hide the identities. I can give you the identities of the kids, but if these were Islamic, if these were white people, their faces would be plastered all over it. Because black people, maybe not, but in this area, probably.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, crazy. Michigan is a shit show, apparently.
I wouldn't say just Michigan, but
well, I'm trying to be responsible for what I can participate in. You know,
yeah,
I can care about all the other places, but you know, this is something that I can legitimately go engage in and learn about, participate in.
Yeah, my little area thankfully doesn't have anything too crazy going on, and I'm honestly very insulated from a lot of what's going on because, I mean, I'm over an hour away from any major city, so very little happens out here, and everyone's always looking out their window and keeping tabs. So I mean, this is a like stereotypical small town. So we have our small town problems, but nothing like this. Because it wouldn't get to this point because people would have already acted.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I've lived in, I grew up in, you know, BFE, you know,
yeah,
bum F nowhere. I've also lived in, you know, LA. I've lived all over the country, in cities. And I don't think like the convenience is nice to go like walk like 30 feet and get a burger from somewhere. But honestly, if you can make food yourself, it's just better. Like making my own burgers. I can make like 5 burgers for the price it would take for like one going to McDonald's. It's not even close anymore.
Yep. Yeah, I should honestly be cooking more for myself, but a lot of like prepared meals and stuff like that is what I eat currently. But still, even that is cheaper than going out to restaurants. And there's only like 2 restaurants in this town, actual restaurants. Yeah, there are exactly 2 actual restaurants in this small little town. And one is ran by the guy I don't no longer speak with.
Nice.
So, and the other one is just complete crap. So I don't go out and eat ever, with the exception of the cinnamon roll from the coffee shop. So
I love cinnamon rolls. Ah, yum.
yeah, hers is good too. Anyway.
All right. So,
oh God, this bitch.
yeah, this post, this Welch lady, Jennifer Welch. This post from Colin Rugg. I'll just go ahead and read this, and then we'll play the video. It says, liberal podcaster Jennifer Welch suggests the Dem establishment needs to get on board with wanting conservatives dead, or else far leftists will come after you in the same, a quote, after you in the same way that we come after MAGA. And you remember how at the beginning of this episode, I said that like the Muslim interest would align with Christian interest. Well, what we see online right now involving a lot of like on Twitter, at least, is the push for online privacy. And a lot of that, or you know, let's look at Collective Shout, a bunch of old, well-to-do white women getting involved in politics, trying to nanny the world and to, you know, be mother to the world instead of mother to their families and their children or whatever they, you know, essentially that. But I think that what I'm trying to say is the overlapping ideology or their lust for, or their openness of, we're going to destroy you, and the fact that nothing is done about it. I mean, like, how can you not look at some of these things and say, they're literally trying to kill us and they're telling us, but we're just going to sit here and do it. And that circles back to that conversation about Christianity. Are we just going to fucking sit here and get killed? Anybody? Yeah.
So it also kind of goes to the point too, is my quote that I spoke earlier is people want to be left alone, so they will do whatever they need to do in order to not change that or ever get to that point unless they're absolutely forced to. And that is something that, again, the left, I don't think truly understands. And so they're going to keep pushing because they're seeing results. But what they don't see is that they are filling up the glass. And when that glass eventually breaks and all that water comes rushing out, it's not going to be a good time for them. Because there's a lot more people who are just want to be left alone than there are than are of them. Sorry. So, and they don't know that. They don't realize that. And because they're just too stuck in their echo chambers or little spheres in their head in the sand to really pay close enough attention because they're getting what they want right now.
Yeah, and they'll continue to do that because it's built around soft power and control.
Correct.
You know,
but when they lose that power and it all comes crashing down on them, they're not going to that they don't know what's coming. So
it'll be interesting to see where this pieces line. But let's hear this really remarkably intelligent woman educate us on what we need to do if we're Democrats. Yeah.
One thing is happening just in New York, and you think people are waking up only in New York City, you're mistaken. Look at this clip of a wine mom at the No Kings March. Play the clip.
His name was Charlie Kirk, ma'am. Yeah, him's horrible.
So that's that Liberty something. That girl. She right here on the right.
Oh, her. Yeah.
I can't remember her name. It's Liberty something. She's very.
I don't remember it either, but yeah, she's one basically the primary online female right commentator or whatever interviewer going around right now.
Yeah, she goes to like the street stuff and she actually asks these people what they think, but she engages with them versus just getting them. So yeah.
Right. Yep.
His name was
Charlie Kirk, ma'am.
Yeah, him's horrible. Horrible.
Charlie Kirk is horrible?
Yes, I'm glad he's not here.
You're glad he's dead?
Yes.
Why would you say something like that, ma'am?
Because he was horrible on the campuses, the college campuses.
That's the extent of her fucking argument. I'm glad he's dead because he was on the college campuses.
And horrible and racist and...
You know what?
She doesn't even add that stuff. That's just the extent of her knowledge.
I do the exact same thing.
Well,
would you be glad if I would die?
Maybe.
That was... Yeah, I remember seeing that part. Yeah. That's...
Maybe.
What is that term?
Psychopathic?
Well, yeah, that's probably the best one for it. I was trying to think of a different one. But yeah, it's just straight up like, yeah, psychopathy. They're completely okay with doing whatever it takes to get what they want. That is a psychopath, so... Yeah.
Fucking insane.
I'd have to think about it.
Should be
Sorry, go ahead.
Liberal women. So it's just a white liberal woman. It's suicidal empathy. And yeah, anyways.
ashamed of yourself.
Be ashamed of yourself.
Your friend.
Look at her on the left. Look at her face. She is happy. She's really happy about that. I'm sorry. Like, I can joke about, I can laugh at the joke that we talked about a minute ago with Mehdi, but he wasn't actually being serious. He was like, I hope that your pager goes off and ends you. Like, okay, that's a completely different story.
No, he said, I hope your pager doesn't go off.
Well, I just mean like, if he would have meant it in a way that he was serious about hurting them, this woman saying this to this girl means it. She's totally fine with, oh, maybe I'd be happy if you're dead too.
Yep.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, there's a clear difference, a clear delineation between humor and intent. So
I hate to say it, but I keep seeing examples like this. And I keep trying to track back, and it's going to be probably an inappropriate conversation, but repealing the 19th may not sound like a terrible option because I'm not seeing too many positives. Right?
Well, that's something I explored for a while. Not necessarily because I believe it or disbelieve it, just kind of what was the movement about.
Right.
And the irony of it is that women are leading that movement.
Yeah.
So
wasn't it women who led the argument for gay rights and who led the argument for trans rights and for the schools and
oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've again just from that within that framework, it's you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. And the more you allow from within the repeal the 19th framework here, the more you allow women to have a voice and have a say and be considered equals in public discourse because they're primarily ruled by emotions versus logic, then the more that they will continue to take because it feeds that emotional, how do I say, emotional drive to get what they want and to be happy because they are literally fighting against their own internal maternal instinct.
But it's also because they deserve, and I think that's where one of the home eth things.
Yeah, deserve. That's probably a better way to say it. Yeah, I agree.
Since they aren't able to nurture their own, they're trying to nurture everyone else.
And within their own ideology and refusing to even accept or look at other possibilities. So, yeah.
I guess what I never understood about the feminist argument, and I've started to see posts like this pop back up too. It's all like you could sit at home and play with the kids and take care of the house. Like, if there's any rich women out there that want me to do that, like I'm on board. Let's go. I can totally be a stay-at-home dad.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to stay where I'm at and not be married. So, yeah, you have fun. I don't give a shit how much money a woman has if she tries to enter my life.
Oh, I was joking about the money. I'm just saying, like, if I could be a stay-at-home like dad, like I don't have to go to like the office. I don't have to. Fuck yeah. Like, I'm sorry, like feminists, like women screwed women by convincing them they needed to go get jobs. Like, y'all fucked up.
Well, I mean, that's how that actually started. I could actually, that's a whole episode in itself. I guarantee that. But for, the Cliff Notes, it was actually started with Rockefeller. So it was all about trying to get more people into the workforce to have lower pay and to make also people unhealthy because it's like I mean, there's a whole
breaks down community, and
this.
it breaks down the nuclear family.
Well, it's to siphon more money because eventually, specifically just talking about one aspect, which is the health. If you don't have good home cooked meals and they have poisoned the food in this country, which causes you to get sick, and you can even add the vaccine bullshit into it. I mean, this whole grand scheme that has been going on for the last century in this country, and it's all about siphoning money out of the lower middle class to the upper echelon. So,
and that
but
gives,
I mean, that, again,
does that give merit to
episode.
the people who fight? It's like, down with the rich people, pay their fair share. Is that where that ideology comes from?
Well, no, that I would argue. I mean, yeah, I guess within a certain framework, yes, what you're saying is a possibility. But there's also another framework that I would say, not me personally, but the framework would say that it's what was it? More about just I want free shit. That's what it was. Versus not down with they should pay more. Is that I want to take what they have without actually earning it. So there's that framework to consider too when it comes to the rich should pay their fair share when they actually do.
Yeah.
The income tax that is actually paid within this country, 90% of it is paid by people of the top 20% or something like that.
Yep.
I don't remember the exact numbers, but it's a vast majority is paid by people who make more than $150,000 a year.
Yeah, and they're in like the 50% bracket or something. Like half of your money goes to taxes if you're wealthy.
That's over 10 million, I believe.
Okay.
But I don't remember the exact bracket range, but yeah.
All right, well, let's continue.
Yeah.
I want to continue. Sorry.
Go ahead. Yeah, that's it. You're good. You're good.
Okay.
Just said she'd be happy if I died.
I think we need to.
And then her friend thinks it's funny. Hey, the good thing is you only have to wait around a couple of years and she's not going to be an issue.
Yeah.
That's
So
insensitive.
listen
but
up,
it's
Democratic
true.
establishment.
This is where she sends the message. So this is what I really want to cue in on.
You can either jump on board with this shit or we're coming after you in the same way that we come after MAGA. Period. Stop taking AIPAC money. Go on an I'm sorry I took AIPAC money atonement tour if you want to stay in power. Stop missing out on these big rallies. Hakeem and Chuck should have been front and center introducing the next mayor of New York City, but no, they wouldn't show up because they're pussies. They're pussies that are beholden to the same corporations that helped Donald Trump get elected. And this is just an embarrassment. Kudos to Bernie.
Is she reading something?
Go back. About. Yeah, right there. It's fine. Not
I'm
too
sorry
far.
I took AIPAC money atonement tour if you want to stay in power. Stop missing out on these big
Yes, she is.
rallies. Hakeem and
Or at
Chuck
least
should have been
cliff notes or
front and
bullet
center
points.
introducing the next mayor of New York City, but no, they wouldn't show up because they're pussies. They're pussies that are beholden to the same corporations that that helped Donald Trump get
She wasn't
elected.
reading then.
And this is just an
Not there.
embarrassment. Kudos to Bernie,
Not there.
to AOC,
There.
to Zora.
Yeah, she's referencing
There.
something. She has talking points.
Yep.
That's fine. I mean, that's normal to have for a conversation, but I just wanted to look at it. But essentially that's a threat to all of the Democrats. But this means that, to me, this means that her ideology, her approach is going to align with the Communist Socialist Party or the left wing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So-
Without a shadow of a doubt.
What's that going to do to Democrats? Because I mean, is that going to force more Democrats to vote Republican, or I guess unless the far left is like excised or exorcised? Is that right? Exorcism? Yeah, exorcised. Excised.
Or yeah.
Removed from and the moderates become the new Democrat Party. I don't think we'll have a framework without that, because if there's no reason not to believe her, and there's plenty of money behind it. But this gets rough.
Well, what the thing about it is that she is definitely trying to pull as many Democrats as she can to her whatever position that exists over on the left, however far it is, whatever. But problem is that there are Democrats that are now actually moving to the right because they're actually seeing the truth behind what's happening in the various different aspects of Trump. It'd be the tariffs, the enforcement of immigration policy, and everything else. And they are seeing firsthand the National Guard come into their cities and cleaning it up, and all of a sudden, wow, there's jobs available because all the illegal immigrants are gone. So they're seeing firsthand exactly what the policies have done of the Democrats, and they are shifting either moderate or even some turning Republican. So it is basically they are stuck inside their echo chamber and refusing to look out the window, and they're not actually seeing the people who are beginning to walk to the other side of the street. So she is actually pigeonholing herself, but it is rhetoric, and it is going to galvanize some of her side to begin to actually move toward the more violent areas. So
Yeah, but she even references, though, that, this is who we are, like the collective movement that she belongs to. At what point do you consider that, until it's like some more centralized or formal, it still looks like a freaking terrorist cell network.
yeah, absolutely.
And
I completely agree with that.
Because if you keep going the same direction and you play the long game, you just keep breeding and replacing cities at a time until you get enough power, and then you get a governorship, and then you get a couple of House seats. That's all that it takes.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
and
It's
just think about
slow moving.
just think about how effective they are with the level of deceit that they present, just because of the amount of money that they have behind it.
Yeah, but that's also going to begin if you believe what's coming out of the White House and the FBI and Kash Patel, that's going to begin to start drying up, because supposedly they're launching a ridiculous amount of investigations against those who have been funding all these left-wing policies. I do adamant believe personally that they are doing it because Trump is basically given the direct order, and he will be keeping up on it. And the fact that he's been coming out and saying, all the stuff he's been saying about Obama, he literally called him a traitor.
I saw that, yeah.
So treason. He actually used the actual T word, treason. He called him what he did was treason. So he directly accused him. A sitting president directly accused a previous sitting president of treason, and officially, openly,
Yep.
with proof. So, or at least saying he has proof. So
again, that bothers me, right? That bothers me.
What specifically?
All of it. Just because if you have that information, why is there not like a trial? Why is there not accountability? I understand the process is slow. I also think the process is too slow sometimes, but then other times it's like, it's a good thing the process is this slow, because if it was moving faster, some of the other crazy shit would have gotten through, right? So
it's all about timing.
It's all about political leverage for the midterms or the next election. I don't think it's about doing the right thing. I think it's about being convenient for the next political piece of the puzzle. And that's what I fucking hate about the whole system.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, personally, I agree that if something is, that they should be brought to light, and regardless of the fallout, it should be excised and done. 100%. Same thing with the Epstein list. However, there is an argument to be made that doing things for the greater good, I mean, from within this framework, the thought of the greater good, by holding off and playing, chess and making certain moves at certain times to get the best possible outcome for whatever argument you're trying to make or whatever you're trying to do, is valid. But again, personally, I think that, again, once something is known, it should be brought to light and it should be handled immediately. Let the country come together as a whole and see the reality of the situation. And of course, the problem is that from my own personal framework, I can handle the situation. Regardless of what happens, I can handle it. I'll make the adjustments. I have the maturity, the knowledge, and the ability to make the appropriate adjustments I need to in my own life. The problem is not everyone does.
Mm-hmm.
And that is probably one of the primary reasons that they haven't just come out and released everything yet, because from what I understand from my own research and what I've heard, again, it's, though I don't have direct access to anything. They said claim I don't have direct access to anything. If they were to come out and release everything that they have at once, or what they have now, just come out and release it, this country would go straight into a civil war. So they're trying to do a metered approach, I think, but it's all about timing.
I understand that. And see,
again, I don't necessarily agree with it, but that's probably what they're doing.
I think this goes into kind of like, have you ever watched Death Note?
Oh, yeah. I've watched the whole thing.
Now, many people would say that Kira's view of justice would be juvenile, very childish-like, and I think even L or N picks up on that, has a line in there regarding it, and it's true, because if you look at it, if you just draw the line and you play God, you can do that. But the truth isn't always that simple, kind of how, we reference, I think, just in second or third week, and we'll probably get into it a little bit later too. The Epstein list, still missing. No one's talking about it. Super blackmail heavy, world changing information, but keeps getting obscured, keeps getting hidden, tied to countries that for some reason keep hiding shit. I don't know if I don't know if I can agree with it's the metered approach, because the metered approach is how you get snowflakes.
I 100% agree. That kind of actually starts to begin to travel down the QAnon the Q. They like not you, like the quote unquote military operation Q from 4chan. And I've been doing a lot of research on that because there have been a lot of posts from 2017, 2018 that have been coming out that are it's I don't even know how to describe this. Too coincidental. And there is interpretation being done, but some of it was too exact. And so when I use the term delta, like you would think as a delta as it was making a post in 2017, but it's applying to today, so that it's 7 to 8 year difference.
Mhm.
So they've been talking about the Q delta. It's as if someone was writing a script and putting it out there, and that goes to that whole time travel thing with Barron and all the other stuff. But the fact that multiple things have happened, to include Trump going to South Korea and then to China on the deltas, like that just happened yesterday and the day before. So this might be just a big military operation, a script that's being followed, and they put out the script to let everyone know what was happening and what's coming. And if the script is true, this week is going to be a good one. But again, not solely saying I agree with it, but
Well,
there's something happening.
I think then I have a post that references that, or
So.
maybe connects the line. It's interesting that we're ending up on some of these topics. Look at what we have this week. From another post from Libs of TikTok, the Democrat activists planning a DC takeover. Their plan? Surround the White House, Capitol building, and Supreme Court with millions of protesters and refuse to leave. Good luck. Trump must go now. We cannot wait for election cycles. I'm pretty sure everyone will. That's called an insurrection, isn't it?
Prediction?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to make a prediction real quick.
Yeah.
This won't happen. Something is going to happen before the 5th that will basically not allow this to happen.
Interesting.
I'm not saying I'm right, but I don't think this is going to happen.
All right, let me see here.
Yep.
Let's see. We see the 5th is Wednesday. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So 3 days. It's either that or it'll be a total flop. Honestly, I can't predict stuff like this. Like this stuff is like I'm usually on the opposite end of it. So it's usually
Well, I mean, it's the whole a broken clock is right twice a day. The problem is that the predictions I make are very heavy, very large, and the 2 times it's right is still catastrophic.
Yeah.
So, but again, it's, eventually, if you make a prediction enough times, eventually over the course of infinity, one will come true.
Oh, that's just like they say if you have enough monkeys in a room typing, eventually they'll type out like
exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah. But anyways, I just want to make that quick prediction. Go ahead.
November 5th in Washington, D.C., the largest sustained protest in Washington, D.C.'s history. This needs to be what happens right now. We're organizing millions of people to get to Washington, D.C., stand and surround the White House, surround the Capitol building, surround the illegitimately fascist-passed Supreme Court, and not stop until the Trump regime is driven from power. We start on the 5th, we go to the 6th, we go to the 7th, we go to the 8th. We keep pushing every day, building and growing our numbers until masses of people are standing around the White House, around the Capitol building, around this fascist-passed Supreme Court, until we drive the Trump fascist regime from power. Like I said, I'm with Carlos. We can't.
How do you do that if you have a job? Although, to be fair, the federal workers, all the people losing their jobs to AI, bad timing.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, it's going to get. Yeah, that's a good point. I was actually thinking the fact that these people don't realize is that Trump was elected and he got majority over everything in every aspect he could think of when it comes to voting in elections. So they are outnumbered, but like it goes back to the quote from earlier that people just want to be left alone. These people are not, so they're banking on the fact that people want to be left alone, and they're basically those who are the people pulling the strings behind, I suspect, are hoping that they can get enough leverage, enough power, and enough momentum to override when those who want to be left alone decide to act.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a race right now. And I have to say right now, the left is not, I don't want to say they're winning, but neither is the right. So it's still very...
The right's not winning because the right's retarded.
Yes, but I can also, I mean, I can say the same thing about the left. It really depends, again, the framework and the perspective. But right now, I would say that they both have equal footing. The difference is that the right actually has a military arm, not necessarily like government military, but the right actually has a military arm.
Left has Antifa.
The left does too with Antifa.
Yeah.
Antifa, but that is also in the process of being dismantled. So there's kind of a there's status quo right now, but I think that's going to be broken in the next few days. So,
see, I don't think that there's a status quo. I think that it's no. I think that they're losing. I guess maybe can you elaborate on where you see the status quo at? Maybe that's where I'm not seeing it.
Because there have been protests, because this kind of thing is actually being allowed. Until the point where they begin to crack down and actually act and use the Insurrection Act, it's a status quo. Because there isn't anything has actually been done yet. So yeah, they are quote unquote cracking down. They're are arresting, Antifa members and everything else, and they have officially classified it as an international terrorist organization. So they now have, the broader enforcement powers with that. But you haven't really heard too much about that here recently, other than the fact that like in Portland or whatever, it's been broken down. So the Antifa rhetoric has severely decreased, primarily through the mainstream media and people who are covering it.
Mm-hmm.
So they are shifting. That's the thing. It's the reason why there's a status quo is because any move the right makes, the left will counter it. It has been countering it and will continue to counter it until there's an insurrection. And then that's when the actual fight will begin. So that's status quo, in my opinion.
So that could be November 5th.
That could be that could be the beginning of it, but I do again think that something is going to happen beforehand where it will give enough excuse for Trump to completely officially use the Insurrection Act and all those quick response forces that Pete Hegseth ordered of the National Guard of all 50 states will begin to be employed. You'll see more National Guard moving to more specific areas, and he's already begun doing that. The stage is set, or is being set, and almost is complete, and for the Insurrection Act to actually be to the full powers of it, to the full authority across the country to be used.
But if that plug is pulled at the same time, you may as well go ahead and make sure that, because if you do that, you have to clear the shit out that needs to be cleared out. And like not necessarily like in a dead way, just needs to be removed from the areas that don't need to be there. Like the corruption, right? The corruption needs to not be there.
Well, I think Asmongold said it really well. I'm not going to say best, but said it really well, is that you have to completely, actually, I guess it'd be Nick Freitas or whatever you say his name, said, and Asmongold basically agreed, is that you have to completely destroy the other side, because if they are allowed to gain power back, they will come back and destroy you. I think you said this too earlier.
Yep.
So the problem is how far is Trump going to go? I don't know whether it's going to be a good thing or a bad thing, whether or not an actual full-on civil war or insurrection is going to happen. But something is going to happen very soon. And I've been predicting it for years. I just haven't known, what the catalyst was going to be or when it was going to happen. I just saw the plan. I've seen, just too many things going again to that damn.
It sounds like you're acknowledging that. It sounds like you're acknowledging the bigger picture, because like the way that I don't want it to get like referenced is like just because like it's hard to say something is going to happen, but there's no way you can tell when. But you can say you acknowledge the patterns of like pieces moving, and then over a long, and it's just because our ability to comprehend time, because I don't remember shit that happened last week. I don't remember shit that happened yesterday. I'm not going to remember shit that happened 6 years ago. Right. So you get so far removed from those big pieces moving that it's hard to piece that together.
And I'm very well trained, I should say, in order to be able to do that, to see the big picture, to begin to remember and place tags on various things where I begin to see connections. Truth be told, some of the connections are just because I think too deeply about things, and because if you think deep enough about things, you will come and find connections that don't actually exist. But that is something I've recognized within myself, and I do see and I do pull back on. That's one of the reasons why I say that something is going to happen. I don't mean like it 100% certainty, is that I do have a firm belief that something will happen based upon the information that I have right now.
There seems to be plenty of indicators that that's moving. It's just, it's very hard to ever pin down. Like, this is exactly going to be the case. I mean, is it?
Yeah.
Do you think that it's reasonable? I mean, hell, just even in DC last night, the National Guard couldn't do anything against the teens or young people that were, I guess, causing problems.
Yeah. Sorry, what's the question?
I forgot.
Something about like, yeah, okay, something to do with, I guess, policing or not unable to do anything, or.
I forgot where I was going with it.
Okay.
That's fine. That's actually a really good section. So let's go ahead and we'll wrap that section. All right, let's go ahead and get into this next section. This next section is all about women. Particularly, I wanted to start off the conversation with just a.
Yeah, Arachne.
Who?
Arachne. That's what that character is.
Oh. So
I've seen the anime, so.
I am severely lacking in my ability to watch anime, just because all the places I used to watch it, I don't use anymore. Like Crunchyroll, I don't use Crunchyroll anymore.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I'm lacking. So if anyone wants to help me find some animes to watch, please recommend some. So anyways, the post says, why do people like monster girls? What's wrong with regular ones? The person responded with, the monster is on the outside. Take it away, Brewer.
Well, if you think about it, I mean, what are the conversations we've been having about the 19th Amendment and all the other stuff? Yeah, it's just gotten to the point where, I mean, hell, you and I are both single. And I have no intention of dating ever again for the rest of my life, quite honestly. And it's because I just don't want to deal with the current mindset of the modern American woman. I'm not saying all of them are like that, but a lot of the ones I know are. I would say in this small town, it's pretty good. And the ones who actually do have a good head on their shoulders are already married. So if I start to date someone approximately around my age, or a little bit below, there's a reason why they're single. So it's just one of those. I don't have the chances of me actually being able to get married and actually have a fulfilling relationship with a woman approximately around my age, give or take, let's say within 5 years below, because I'm not going to go up, is very, 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 very small. And I'm a logical person, so I'm just playing by the statistics here.
Okay.
So that's one of the reasons why I just I'm not going to walk away if something does show up and I can make a determination at the time about it, but I'm not pursuing anything.
That's fair. Why do you think someone would specifically point out that the monster, and this is drawing the distinction between an anime character, and like you just gave us kind of how, your stance on a relationship, which is really good. Yeah. I like anime characters. I think anime girls are, cute. They're anime characters. They're fun characters. But what is it? What do you think that this person is trying to reference with saying the monster is on the outside when comparing a monster character who is a spider versus a real woman?
Say that question again. Sorry, I didn't track for some reason.
Sure. If we compare the monster girl on screen, Arachnia, with any real woman, but the question was, why do people like monster girls? And this person says, well, because the monster is on the outside.
It's on the outside, yeah.
So,
well, that's just like the. How do I say this? Well, one, it's not based in reality, or it is based in reality, but maybe not based from the reality of the anime character. It's also a fantasy. It's also their idealized version of what a woman is. And by saying that the monster is on the outside, because all of the girls in the anime, and to kind of give you a quick background, I forget the name of the anime, but it's like Monster Musume or something like that. Basically, monsters have been acknowledged by the world. They're actually allowed to come out and be part of society, but human society. But in order to do that, to do a transition, like in Japan, they created a government institution that will actually assign these monsters to humanoid monsters to join families. And this one person who does it is extremely lazy, and so she just keeps assigning them all to this one dude. So it's a harem of monster girls. But they all have their unique individual personalities, but they're all very, good natured. There's even a Dullahan that joins, type of thing. So, but they all have good hearts. So when the guy is saying that the monster is on the outside is because you see the worst part of them, so to speak. And the worst part of them isn't bad, so all you have is the good heart behind it. So it is like pretty much the modern male fantasy is being able to look at a woman, see her for what she really is, and be able to actually, connect with the woman on a deeper level, which right now it just doesn't happen because of influence, because of how, indoctrination and upbringing and everything else. Not saying generally, but that's how a lot of men are viewing it. So that's kind of how I would interpret what this guy is saying here.
Interesting. So for me, what kind of stood out to me was kind of what you alluded to. Like, I don't care what you look like on the outside. And like I saw this image of this really attractive blonde next to like an unmakeup normal girl next door, Sydney Sweeney post. And it was like, which one would you pick? Well, everyone's picking Sydney Sweeney because everyone knows what the one on the right is usually going to bring. But it's not about what's on the outside. It's about it's truly about what's on the inside. The reason I like, and I connect with anime characters and all that, because they're pleasant to be around.
Yeah.
They're fun. They're not demeaning me. They are just, they're enjoyable. They're not nagging at me. They're not yelling at me. They're not calling me names. Until we get into the VTuber sphere, and then we can talk about all that drama if we want to. That'll upset some people.
Yeah.
But I think
that's an interesting point, though.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No. Okay. Well, I just mean like with regular women, you can be pretty, you can be put together, you can have all your stuff. You can look perfect, but then all of that stuff that may not be cool or that I might not be able to accept, I'm not even able to see to evaluate, but you're going to use that against me.
Yep.
It's like I would rather deal with what I am being presented with. So if you presented me with this spider character, right? I'd have to come to realization, okay, well, this is a spider. Let's also understand that this is not real, so this is fiction.
Yeah.
And fiction is not reality. Studies have shown. It's because men want more. Men have been said, oh, men don't listen to us. Men don't communicate with us. They don't understand. No, men do understand. It's just you're making really stupid fucking points.
Yeah. I mean, there's like two different frameworks I can immediately construct here. Because you have the framework of course, men are right, men are logical, men throughout history up until the last, 60, 70 years have been the ones who've been making the decisions and been breadwinners, and the woman has been the nurturer, which is actually normal throughout the entirety of the mammalian animal kingdom.
It's worked for thousands of years.
Thousands of years. And the moment that you begin to grant women, I don't like to use that, but, try to create an equality between man and woman is that women begin to want more and more. Because even before, women were always wanting more. And
Women
the men would
deserve.
always tell them no.
It's because women
Yeah, they
deserve.
deserve it like that. So it's by allowing them to see themselves as equal. Again, this is a framework. They are still demanding more and more but now males don't have the same power they did in order to tell the woman, no, we can't do this because it's not economically viable. No, we can't do this because it'll harm us. No, we can't do this and this for whatever reason, this and that.
Mm-hmm.
So now that the women are seeing themselves as equal, they're continuing the trend.
Well, but they're becoming men. They're acting like men. We're seeing this like the streamer stuff that happened, the sexual assault on stream, live on stream. A woman sexually assaults a person, live on stream on Twitch. No one says anything about it. Not really.
Yeah, because it's a woman doing it, and it's within the culture of the society that women can't be. Oh, within the framework of the culture, anyway.
You know what? You've convinced me. You've convinced me. Men and women just aren't equal yet. That proves it right there.
Yeah, well, I've actually talked about this like at the coffee shop that I go to from time to time, and I think this is one of the reasons why I get a lot of respect from some of the people there. I actually said that men and women are not equal. And the entire room looks at me. I go, they are equivalent. There's a difference. Men and women cannot do the exact same thing as each other. However, if you were to create a quantitative, like assign a numerical value to what is a man, to what is a woman, have the woman be a positive, the man be negative, it would equate to zero. It's a zero sum. Men and women are equivalent. And they are meant to work together to create a better whole versus try to be parallel to one another, because it doesn't work. Throughout the entirety of the mammalian animal kingdom, with exceptions, of course, the males have typically been the hunters, and the females have typically been the nurturers. I mean, there's
lions. People use
Exactly.
lions as the example.
Well, that's a counter example, but it's still not the core example. It's not the majority. It's not, how most of them act. It's just how that specific type of animal went for some reason. So.
Damn, I had a good question, but I didn't want to interrupt you. Fuck.
My bad.
No, it's my fault for not saying anything. That's okay. I didn't forget. Move on to the next post. This woman early voted for Zohan Mondani, and she's happy that an old lady called her pretty. But I really just wanted to focus on the responses to this. And I think that this is the reality of the situation. All of the people dressing up in red hoods, even in Portland, getting the attention for the Twitterverse. What they're actually arguing for is the image on the right. That's what it will become.
And honestly, if it comes down to that path, if I'm still alive somehow, I mean, I'm going to do we told you so. So.
I mean, hey, on the bright side, they'll be back at home taking care of the kids.
Oh man, I don't even want to begin to think how that.
Bro, I'm telling you that this is the play. This is what I'm thinking the play is going to end up being. Islam is going to be pushed to take over Christianity in the U.S., and it's going to be this route to do it. White women will pave the way.
Yep. Pseudocidal empathy, Asmongold says it best. So in that regard, for that subject anyway, but yeah.
Since we're talking about women, and we're terrible people talking about women. We're not. We're really good people. Brewer's amazing. Brewer has one of the kindest hearts.
I try anyway. I didn't always, but I definitely try.
Well, I'm happy with the person that you are, so.
I appreciate it.
So this is what's her name? Posted originally by the Charlie Kirk channel. This is a lady, I can't remember. It's Kristen Hawkins. Kristen Hawkins goes to, I think it was a college campus, and she's having an engagement with this person. And this person says that late-term abortions aren't allowed. So it's a 44-second video. We'll go and play it quick.
I just turned 32 weeks pregnant.
So what she did was this girl asked the question, and Kristen Hawkins immediately called a local abortion center.
Am I able to come in for an abortion ASAP?
I wouldn't be able to see you for the week of the 23rd, so that would put you at 34 weeks.
Can I still have an abortion at 34 weeks?
Yes, ma'am. I just have to do an intake form. Do you have about 5 minutes?
Sure, I have 5 minutes. Yeah, I just found out that she could have Down syndrome. I can still have the abortion, right, even though she has Down syndrome?
Yeah, so we just have to do an intake because the doctor...
It doesn't matter. That's late-term abortion.
Fucking clown, dude. I'm sorry. That's owned on the spot.
And I'm guessing the woman who started screaming at her was because you can't do late-term abortions or whatever.
Yeah, that doesn't happen. That's not real. Even though last week we posted we shared the video of what a 34-week-old looks like, even surviving outside the mother. But yeah, this there you go. This lined up perfectly with last week's intent.
Yeah. That's just sorry.
This is not her, but this lady right here encapsulates the same mindset that all of these other terrible examples that we've been presenting today are for women. But however, I'm not going to sit here and just knock all women, because there are good ones. And as whenever you were sharing your intent for the future, all of the good ones are already taken, at least for the most part.
Yeah.
Even myself as an older person right now, like I still come with some kind of baggage. I mean, not much, right? I've forgotten most of it, but women tend to hold on to shit. And so I'll just, if you've ever been in a relationship and you've done something wrong, your wife will use that against you, or your partner will use that against you forever. Even if you talk about it, even if it's, oh, don't say that, it hurts my feelings, they will still use it when it can sting the most. It's just what they do.
I mean, with my relationships that I've had throughout my life, that is absolutely the case.
So there's some relationship advice, for more, leave a like, follow, subscribe.
Yeah.
But then you sent this one.
Yeah, I saw this shortly before we even did this today, and yeah, I mean, just play the video and then we'll talk about it from there.
Okay.
I guess one quick preference: I don't know how true this is. I haven't been able to research it.
So you're not, we're not validating the percentage, but we're just engaging with the idea because it does happen.
Correct.
Okay.
% of Gen Z is missing.
Hey, so did you know that about a third of our generation is missing?
Okay, so the framing of that is disingenuous. Missing is... Missing doesn't seem...
Missing versus... Yeah. That's what you're saying.
The framing of it is... And I think that it's intentional, because it's meant to... If you see that, if you just come in and say, pro-life, don't do abortion... This is trying to find another way to kind of hook into that argument. Even though I don't disagree with it, I can still understand it.
Yep. Makes sense.
From about 1977 to 2020, there was roughly an estimated 26 million human beings that were aborted. Can we think of another time in history where we took the lives of millions and millions of people, but we called it healthcare? And human rights? True healthcare, true human rights don't eradicate 28% of a generation. That's what genocide is. That's what eugenics is. I think it's time that we start calling abortion for what it truly is. That we mourn the lives of the innocent human beings that never got the chance to grow up like you and I. And I think it's time that we begin to boldly proclaim that we no longer want any more innocent human beings in our generation to be erased.
So I said initially, whenever we added this video, I was going to take the other side of it. I'm going to argue for abortion and the reduction of 28% of the population or 23% of the population, even though I don't necessarily believe it or that it's a good thing. I'm still going to argue. I'm going to put forth the idea or the stance that it is needed to happen because the reduction of, the improvements of technology continually to remove the amount of jobs. And if you continually reproduce, there are at some point finite resources available for people to live at a certain threshold. Let's start there.
Well, it's funny you say that because there's you ever see the show Sliders from early 2000s, late 90s, 2000s?
I very vaguely remember seeing it.
10-second synopsis. Super genius kid, high school, creates a device that allows you to travel interdimensionally. People get roped into it. Basically, he has to try to leave early because it's timed for it to return back to the base reality. But if he forces it, it begins a randomization sequence where he begins to have to jump to random realities. One of the random realities that his little group ends up going to is a society or a world society that basically all exists beside the United States, with pockets here and there. There's no more than 500,000 people on the planet. And it actually creates a thing because they viewed that there's finite resources and we will eat them up before the natural conclusion of the solar system. And so they actually have suicide times where people can choose to die, and it is celebrated. So it's
Sounds
kind
like
of
Canada.
yeah, I mean, I was gonna, kind of allude to that. It kind of sounds like a certain country to the north that we call our hat. So it's interesting because that framework actually does have a decent basis to it. I'm not saying I agree with it, but within the framework,
it has a pragmatic basis because there's a logical component to it.
Correct. But I mean, it depends on your ethical framework. I mean, there's so many things that you can say for or against what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not necessarily going to take an argument against it or for it because it is an argument. And how do I say this? Because it's, in a way, it's true. In a way, it's right. There's this, of course, you have Elon Musk who was talking about population collapse and the fact that the current young generation, there's not going to be enough of them to take care of us when we get old, which is reality. So it becomes a point where do we force the younger generation to sacrifice so much of themselves in order to take care of the older generation? Or does the older generation need to sacrifice themselves in whatever form that entails to allow the next generations to prosper? So right now you have this dichotomy between who should be taken care of and who has priority. And if you really want to dive into it, you have the boomers right now that predominantly just don't give a shit and they have majority of the wealth in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them aren't passing it down. So because they have that mentality of I worked for it, I deserve it all, which again is within the framework, makes sense. But at the same time, you're not allowing the generational wealth to continue down so your descendants can be better off and have a better way of life. But instead, you're choosing to force them into a significantly more difficult life, which again, there's the side that brings that, that will give them character and they will be more, fruitful and so on and so forth, which, is a valid argument. But at the same time, you're needlessly making lives more difficult. So, I mean, I'm not saying which side of the argument I would be on, but that's just two sides of that argument.
I think I know what side of the argument you're on just because I can reference earlier in the conversation today. You said everyone needs a little bit of trauma.
Well, no, that's conflating two things.
Okay.
That was more of a mental, in order to be mentally strong, you need to have a foundation that you can lean on for dealing with problems.
Do you think
That
generational?
versus,
Sorry.
well, I see what you're trying to say with it,
Because like
but
you see
it's
where
not.
you get like nepotism and the spoiled brats, and like they don't really do anything with that wealth anyways.
Yeah, that was one of the other side of the argument that I was eventually going to get to.
I'm sorry.
But it's no, you're fine. You're fine. I know I'm long-winded sometimes. So it's like, yeah, but that, like, I just go right to it. That's the other side, is the nepotism and the fact that you have the spoiled brats. The problem is because that is what the culture is allowing. So it's still the family's responsibility ultimately to raise the child right. So, but the kind of alluding back to what you were talking about before with the economic situation, even the Rockefeller thing, where everything has been, eroded, the family system has been eroded. So if we were to not allow, if we were to have a culture where the generational wealth was passed down and we had a strong culture of family, based upbringings, I suspect it is within my personal belief that nepotism and these spoiled brats would still exist, but to a significantly less degree. And when you're speaking to those who have this generational wealth, because it would be within the culture for the parents to actually raise their children and not be forced into the public school systems, because that is the Rockefeller design, to force families to separate for a majority of their lives, especially when they're young, to be able to program them to consume, to make more money, and to control and to allow more of these governmental and higher level institutions control over everything. So it basically they're just holding on to their power.
Well, I mean, we
But
can look at the truth of that and how that was applied for all of the just strange, perverse stuff being introduced into public schools for kids.
yeah,
I mean, that fits perfectly in
yeah.
that framework.
Yeah, exactly. And that has been the whole thing. I mean, I'm not going to say that, Rockefeller had this 200-year plan that is, they're doing step by step by step. I mean, that obviously could be a fact, but it was a overall ideology and overall idea that he introduced, so him and his ilk, I'll just say, introduced and are continuing. And of course, it adjusts with the culture and the way that, everything is being seen. But if we were to return to a time where everything was family focused first, I suspect that a lot of the problems we would have in this country, from regardless of the ethnicity, regardless of where you were from, there would be a greater amount of wealth that was more evenly distributed, because people would actually work for what they needed to do. And even if it was through generational wealth, that a lot of these people, get their money and everything else, as long as they were taught the proper work ethic, it doesn't matter how much money you have, you will succeed.
Yeah,
Maybe
work
not
ethic
to the
is.
same degree as somebody else. You won't ever have
But
true
you'll
equality.
live a damn good life, and I guess it depends on
Exactly.
where your definition of success is.
Exactly, and that again goes back to culture and the fact that the view of success has been tainted and controlled by Hollywood and everything else. So people now think that in order to succeed, I have to have more than you. That's how some people view success, which is completely wrong. And I don't care what framework you try to come with me. I will never agree to that. Success is doing what you think is best for you and able to continue to do what you think is best for you. Some people think it's okay to trample on others to get there. I don't, but I mean, so.
Interesting.
But yeah, I will never accept trampling over somebody else to get higher, which, I mean, it's kind of the way the society is right now. And you may not have a choice. I get that, depending on your perspective. But a lot of the arguments being made about nepotism and everything else is just because of the current culture. But if the culture was changed, which is naive right now, but anyways.
Well,
utopia.
I'm naive. I'm naive. But yeah, so I know that we mentioned the next generation or the younger generation. This is I saw this. I think I saw this morning. This is Asmongold reacting to, I think it was a woman talking to her child, and she's just, oh, sorry, it's a girl asking her little brother if he believes both men and women should be drafted into World War III. So let's look at that real quick. Whoops. Whoops.
You scroll down, so you get a refresh page.
There we go.
There we go.
There we go.
The hell? Okay.
Believes both men and women should be drafted in World War III.
Should men and women both be drafted in the war if there's a World War III that happens?
No.
I guess.
You think both should be drafted? Drafted means like you have to go.
I know what drafted is.
Oh, okay.
I mean, like, equality, I guess, so.
So you think they should, like, just drop off a form at everybody's door and be like, if your kid's over 18, they have to go to war?
They wanted this, though.
Who did?
The women.
No.
Little kid's not wrong. And this is the youngest. I'm assuming the youngest generation. This is probably an alpha.
Yeah, this would be mid alpha, I would say.
So yeah, give it 20 years, feminists. This is going to be a well-educated child if things don't change.
Well, keep playing. I know where this is going. I haven't seen this, so I think I know where this is going.
Okay.
Want equal rights. If somebody can vote, they can vote. If someone goes to war, which is hard, someone goes forward.
Yeah, but men are bigger, so then they're like
So like now you're being sexist.
What? No.
So like in theory you're right, but in theory it could also be wrong. You're a sexist girl.
Okay.
So I'm right.
What's Asmon's reaction?
Oh man, this is what we got coming up, boys.
Fucking called it.
Yeah. This is exactly what's coming up. This is what's going to happen. The problem is that women are getting exactly what they asked for, and they didn't realize what they were asking for.
Maybe we shouldn't. We shouldn't let women be in charge then. Sorry, that's a really good argument for it.
Well, I mean, the fact that, well, that is a probably one of the best, if not honestly the best example I have seen of how women don't want equality. They want superiority. They want to tell the men what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and do it for them.
They want to be men.
And,
They want to be men.
But more so.
Yeah.
Be able to control men.
Yeah.
On top of it. Men don't seek control of women, regardless of what the feminists are saying. Men seek to protect women. Whether or not it's a misguided way of doing it, the ultimate goal is for a man is to protect himself, his family, his wife, his children, and not in that order.
I believe it's instinctual. Yeah, on some level. Yeah.
So
the order in which you have those matters, though.
Yes, I purposely said them out of order because I don't want to allude to one as superior than the other. Whether or not you agree or disagree with whatever that order is. Anyways.
Oh no, I was just acknowledging that you can have a different order, but whenever you change the order of those things, your priorities change as well. So your behavior changes.
Exactly.
Which means your voting pattern changes, which means how you perceive the world changes. Which means the information that you consume changes.
Yeah, but to the main point is the fact that the sister is obviously trying to say that basically even he said it straight up, the kid, you're being sexist, because now it's the ironic thing is that the script is being flipped in real time now. So when a woman comes out and says that, women shouldn't be drafted because men are bigger, they're the ones who should go to war, I go, well, you wanted to vote, you wanted to have a credit card, you wanted to be able to do everything that a man can do.
You want to have
congratulations.
No, it's not just that. Let's get clear with that. It's you want the power, and you have the power to send men to war, but you don't want to go yourself.
Yeah, that's it. Well, that's what I said earlier. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just they don't want to actually pay the consequences for their action.
They want the levers of power without actually having to do the work that made those things great.
Correct.
Because and that's
the
why
feminists specifically
the feminists. Women are great. I love women. I love all women.
I don't, but I'm not afraid to say it.
I try to love all women. Sometimes they're just, too much to love.
No, I don't. I'm not even hiding it anymore. I'm not sexist, but I don't see all women as the same. So
I don't either. Like, my perception has changed, but I do think that I'm definitely queuing in, like, even just doing this podcast and relating with people that I normally would on a part of my daily life, right? People that know me at the grocery store, stuff like that. Like, I'm understanding people on a different level from starting to do this, I think. And it's a good thing. But I also, like, it feels like I'm putting boundaries and barriers up by acknowledging some of the real stuff that's going on. And I don't like having to do that.
Well, you have to. It's a self-preservation. I mean, if you don't have boundaries, if you don't learn to say no, I'm not saying you don't, but just in general, you are going to be walked over.
Well,
You're going to be manipulated. You are going to be controlled.
I have a hard time saying no. That's why I'm very picky about asking people for stuff. That's why I generally don't ask for stuff.
Yeah, I used to be the same way, which kind of led to the situation that I've talked about kind of multiple times. But in general, I have learned to say no. I have learned to, put up the boundaries, saying if you cross this boundary, it's done. Because if you don't do that, like I just said, talking in circles a bit, you will lose a great deal amount of work and effort that you put into it because people will just come and take it. So you have to defend your positions, you have to defend yourself, and you have to be able to articulate what you want and what those boundaries are. So
yeah, boundaries in a relationship.
You'll be a happier person for it.
Yeah, no, so. Yeah, even you're right. Boundaries in a relationship are really important, and actually following through with that. And you have to follow through, because if you don't, and you don't follow through one time, yep, damn it. All right, well,
yeah, it's not an easy thing to do, and it's honestly something that I've learned very recently. So I'm not sitting here and telling you that this is my whole life, that I know exactly and everything. I know the answer to everything. I absolutely fucking do not.
Don't lie. You do too.
If you say so.
Okay.
But anywho.
All right. So if you're in a relationship and you have kids, nothing really makes it worse whenever kids just keep throwing their food on the ground. And, this is here's an example of a way that you can handle a situation like this.
Where are you two?
So the text on the screen says, next one that makes a mess is going to get a spanking. So if you're just listening in, you have the man talking to a little boy on the left, and a little girl on the right. They're in like this little island kitchen area, and then the wife is in the back doing the dishes.
Want to make some mess, so I'm gonna get a.
And as we can clearly see, the wife just takes the dishes and throws them on the ground. Just throws them on the ground, and then she is, I can respect her for immediately moving to accept her punishment. And this is, I think, that how you should actually run your household. This is a properly functioning example, I think. What do you think, Brewer?
Play the rest of it. It's like a little second. I just want to make sure or something.
Where are you two?
Honestly, this is a skit.
I know,
but
it's funny.
Well,
okay. That even if it's a skit, you should totally do this, because this is something that could be fun in a relationship.
Well, I'm actually I was going to take it from a more parenting approach.
Okay.
If you can't the mom and dad can't hold each other accountable, a child's going to pick up on that.
That's true.
So she intentionally did it to kind of make a point that everyone needs to be held accountable for themselves. So this could act like might actually, quote, is a skit, but they are doing it to try to instill some kind of doctrine into their children.
I don't think that's the case. Okay, so.
But I'm just saying that
I love
is
that.
a possibility.
Yeah, no, we're going to go with that take, because definitely what is not happening is what happens after, because the kids are just going to hear mom getting spanked, and as she should be. I mean, you don't throw stuff on the ground, right? Clearly, you should teach the kids that if mom can be held accountable, so can you. Absolutely.
So that's how I would have taken this, but of course you could go the other route that they're doing something else in there, and that was an excuse for mom and dad to disappear for a short period of time.
Because when do parents get to do that, right?
Exactly.
And I mean, how much better of a cover do you need to make some noise?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
so I mean, yeah, that's the humorous aspect. But I mean, honestly, that would probably be something. I mean, what I was talking about is probably something I would do if I ever had kids.
You'd stage stuff like that just to teach them lessons.
Correct.
That's so you.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe you should write down those things that you would do, and we could market those as like parenting books.
Oh God, dude, that would probably be the worst thing to. I mean, yeah, if they were to work, fine, but I don't have any kids. It's like it's like a wine mom yelling at kids they shouldn't be acting that way, but she'd never actually raised any herself. It's the exact same thing. So, but then again, never mind. I'm not going to go there.
So that kind of wraps up that section, just about women. We got into some interesting areas, and I definitely don't take any of it super seriously. We're just trying to be lighthearted. Unlike Brewer, I am super misogynistic. I'm totally kidding. I'm not. I love women. I'm actually probably the biggest simp out of the two of us, not going to lie.
Probably, honestly.
Probably.
No offense, but
it's true. Like, I'm very easy to be manipulated, and that's why I'm very careful with who I allow around me. Because I'm too trusting.
Used to be.
I'm too trusting. And I would rather be too trusting and then just like slowly build out the people. Like, it's easier that way. So
I would disagree, but
it's okay. It's a way to do it.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying it's not the easier one. So.
Yeah. All right, well, let's go ahead and wrap this section up. And all right, getting into the next episode, doing really good. I wanted to take a look back at Israel. You know how we were talking about Charlie Kirk's assassination and Israel and stuff being like all of the different information coming out, what is true, what is not, who's lying. Ian Carroll, I didn't know he existed until I saw him do something with Candace, but he makes some really good arguments. There's some really good questions based on what a Turning Point member presents of information. And I went ahead and just did the current time of it. So 486 seconds inside the video. And I encourage everyone to go watch this whole 22 minutes. We're only going to watch maybe like a minute or two of it just to kind of set the stage for the idea. Yeah.
You very rarely see from someone that he was freaking out. And then I think he literally said to me, I might be imagining this, but I think what he literally said was he was looking around and then he says, I need to call Erica. And then he takes his phone and he begins calling Erica. And I don't want to disclose how that.
So he's talking about one of the gentlemen that was standing next to him at the Charlie Kirk tent, just for reference.
Yeah. Call unfolded. But he did that. Your mind extends all of this, but that is happening within a minute of all of this occurring. I remember he calls Erica. Around the same time, I pull out my phone and I call my mom just to say, Mom, there's been a shooting. You're going to see it on the news. I'm okay. Pray for me. I've got to go. And I remember that call.
What I would have done.
And around the time I put that phone away, and then he immediately calls his dad. He calls Rob McCoy, and he says, Dad.
So we've just, explained both of the theories that are going around. We hit both of those theories. So check. What are we talking about now?
Someone shot Charlie. You need to call all of your pastor friends. Charlie was hit. We need everyone to pray right now. And
did you say something?
No.
That's what he told him.
While he's walking away to the parking lot. How fast were these conversations? Were you there for those conversations, Blake? Because we have video of him walking away to the parking lot on the phone. You were not with him when he walked away to the parking lot on the phone. So are you basing this off of your your experience, or off of what he told you?
And
which are fair questions to have with how the information is being presented. I think so.
Yes.
It's very disgusting for me as someone who witnessed this, who saw Mikey hugely distressed and then step up in the moment because
step up, you mean step out in the moment, actually, I think. Anyone in their position that can't realize why this looks suspicious and instead jumps to this is disgusting, you're an idiot. How dumb are you?
That's not necessarily, I mean, how do I say this? Was the thing we talked about yesterday that we couldn't remember the fallacy? I can't remember the fallacy you were talking about, like, the name of it.
I don't.
The one where they're given two choices.
Oh,
and only two choices.
false dilemma.
Yeah, false dilemma. Is what this guy's doing.
That's what who Ian Carroll is, or
no, the bald guy.
Okay.
He's doing a false dilemma. If you like, it's either this or that. That's basically what he's saying. So that in itself makes me think that they are covering something up. Just that alone, because you don't immediately do that.
It raises suspicion, but Ian Carroll also said
too much suspicion.
He's going towards this is disgusting for people to act this way. I don't feel like it's disgusting to ask these reasonable questions of these situations and these conversations because they matter, and it's the same dismissive tactic that concerns me.
Yes, and this one I've actually, kind of side note here, like I may have mentioned this before, but in the military, I actually got in trouble for asking too many questions. I was actually told to shut up and color once. And when I asked, I of course, respond with the question with, well, then how am I supposed to know what I need to do if I don't know how to do it, if I can't ask a question? He didn't have a response. So this was from a E5 tech sergeant, and I was an E1 airman at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not allowed to ask questions about something that is important, and it's because of two things. One, they don't have an answer and they don't want to admit it. Or two, they don't want the answer to be known.
Seems to be the
so
case.
Which one is it?
I think any reasonable person should automatically shift towards that mindset of like, okay, well, if it's not a big deal, why won't you tell me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, then you're hiding something. I could reference a real life example, but there's no reason to equate that right now, and it's way too personal. So, I want to continue just a little bit more of what he says, because he gets into showing the video that he's referencing.
Of course this is suspicious, and maybe there isn't a rational explanation, but it's still a really dumb strategy to call it disgusting instead of to acknowledge how suspicious it looks.
Yep.
Because we're going to come back to the hole in this whole thing.
There's been multiple people that have worked for Turning Point USA that have made statements, and I'm doing my best to kind of like, other people seem to be really on top of it, and I don't feel that I would be able to find anything new based on what's available, other than sitting down and trying to do like a documentary of what's actually going on. At some point, it will probably need to happen, though.
In just a second.
After that call was over, I saw Mikey like get total mastery of himself, that he realized he had to step up in this situation. And from that point, he was like a general directing a battle where he was, grabbing people and saying, okay, we need to.
So this is after he walked away to the parking lot. Did he come back or what? Is this when he got all the blood on him that wasn't there?
Get to the hospital, and we need to.
What? The car was gone. He was walking away as they loaded him into the car. He had nothing to do with them loading him into the car.
Do these things, and you guys need to wait here. I need to get in here to get information so that I can get it to Erica. And when we learned he was dead, he came out and he told us, and then he says, now none of you can say anything that you've heard, because Erica is not going to hear about this from anyone except me.
Can I ask a question? I've just been thrown into this.
We're just about to.
Guys, what kind of testimony is this?
Yeah.
This is them loading Charlie into the car. This video is not going to show enough of it, we want this video. Okay? So, this video is the same time frame as he's being loaded into the car. That is Mikey McCoy back there, walking away.
The person the guy's referencing.
The bald guy?
We have it on video.
Yeah. No, not the bald guy. The bald guy is referencing that guy.
Okay.
He did not compose himself and come back and get his wits together and start directing everything and say, hey, we need to get him into the car and get him to the hospital, and I'm going to get into the car and take him to the hospital and all that. Like,
that captures kind of the essence of what I wanted to start with. If everything here was factually accurate, I mean, if you've seen other videos, Candace has done a good job the last couple of days putting out videos of like good angles of the person turning and walking away from the tent as soon as immediately, like milliseconds, I think it was like less than a second after the shot goes off, the guy like calmly is walking away on his phone. Not maybe calmly, but like walking away already on his phone. His phone was already in his hand. There's so much suspicious shit. And let's just talk about the camera. The one of the camera guys said, oh, well, my first thought was I need to make sure that I have this footage available. And he gets on the chair to pull down a camera. And that's, I've worked live shows. That doesn't fucking happen. That's and if that's your first thought, I'm sorry. There's something fucked up about this whole situation, and it doesn't get better.
Oh yeah, I know you're talk about that in a sec, but when the whole thing happened, I of course put on an old hat and went into my analyst mode and began to watching and trying to figure things out. And I noticed the fact that the guy walked up and took the camera immediately afterwards.
Yep.
And the personal opinion here, the weapon described does not match the wound inflicted.
The Mauser?
And the way
30-06?
and the way it all came down. Like, I'm not going to begin to allude anything else beyond that.
Yeah.
So the fact that he can't grab the camera as quick as he did, I don't recall, did he take the whole camera down?
I can't remember.
Or just the video, or just the card out of it? Memory card. I think he took down the whole camera. So angles matter, and how a lot of the, much I don't want to recall this, the blood came out, does not match a 30-06. Period. And the angle from everything, it kind of looks like it came from that camera.
Wouldn't taking that camera down be tampering with evidence at that point? Because that would be a crime scene then.
Yes.
Wouldn't that be a crime?
Yes. But what's on the screen is the person who would be the one almost the ultimate authority on getting someone arrested.
In that, according to their...
sorry. Didn't mean... Yeah. I just wanted to catch that.
No, that's it. That was it. I was going to say, go ahead.
So the initial title for this video from Redacted, and I generally try to check into what they're usually on the front end of stuff. They're usually on the front end of stories, I think, and I think that they do a pretty good job just being honest and genuine. I don't think that I've ever really gotten a creepy vibe, like they're intentionally trying to mess with me. And they've had people on with some crazy opinions, and they've even disagreed with them. But the title for this video was originally called Tulsi Gabbard Furious After FBI Blocks Investigation into Charlie Kirk's Assassination. So as we can, and I'm pulling that because the bookmark tab, I'm guessing the metadata for the site didn't update based on this title. So that means that they changed it.
Oh, that's interesting.
So they changed it to "We Were Right." So I'm guessing they're confirming more of their original position, saying that the FBI covered up possible foreign involvement. There's no real reason to play the video, even though I would recommend everyone go watch it. It's their October 30th on their YouTube page. What is the first foreign involvement, foreign country, you would connect to this?
Well, there's three.
What's the first one that comes to mind?
Well, the first one's Israel. Just bluntly.
Okay.
Second's Qatar. Third one is Egypt.
Okay.
So
now,
but however, I do want to quantify this a bit. Israel is the most obvious. The other two, though a definite possibility for various reasons, may be misinformation that's been put out there to deflect away from Israel. So, but I have seen information about both Egypt and the other country that I just forgot suddenly.
Egypt, Israel, and
Qatar. There, sorry. So I just for some reason forgot the country. But I think those two, I mean, assuming, well, I can't really make assumptions. I can't really build a framework with that. There's been a lot of information that's been coming out after this or shortly before this that is pointing that there's some involvement with Qatar or Qatar and some involvement with Egypt. So there's a lot of misinformation out there, and it always seems to happen after something about Israel comes out. So
we have seen up to this point the level of effort gone to obscure and hide information about Israel, even the shit that went down in Nevada with like the dude that had
100%.
something. They're like cybersecurity person. Like we covered that second week.
Mhm.
And now we know that Charlie Kirk was under pressure from funders and donors. We know that some of them was Israeli money. So there's it's an easy narrative to make, saying that, oh, well, Israel did it. But at the same time, they just keep fucking shooting themselves in the foot if it's not true.
Yeah, if there's smoke. But yeah, it's like I'm very reluctant just to come out and say that there is a definite Israel connection, but there's too much pointing or alluding or connecting to it. And Netanyahu's campaign to use influencers to, try to stop this anti-Israel sentiment. I'm not going to use the word anti-Semitism to describe it. Anti-Israel sentiment growing within this country, and Charlie was supposed to be part of that. And the moment he decided to push back and say, I no longer believe with this, what happened. So there is too much of a coincidence. There is too many lines that are connecting back to Israel. And the problem is that you have Mossad, who have done multiple information manipulation campaigns throughout the United States. That's a proven fact. I'm not going to sit here and begin to, state what is what because various reasons. But
yeah, don't they have that zero click software or app?
Be more specific. I'm not the name. I think
it's called Pegasus. It's like zero click spyware. You can send it to somebody and it just automatically takes place, automatically loads. I'm pretty sure it was.
I am familiar. I have heard something about that before, but I'm not 100% sure exactly what that would entail or how that would be done. But it's well within. I mean, it's just with my software engineering experience. Yeah, that's not overly difficult to do. The question is when you just say send it, is the question I have.
So essentially, it was the way that it was referenced is I could send it to you, and it would automatically be added to your phone. You don't have to click on anything. You don't have to open the text message or anything.
Oh, using a backdoor. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the question I had. So yeah, they just use a backdoor, which doesn't surprise me. As far as I know, that's currently on my phone, but good luck. So
I know you're important, but I don't think you're that important yet. You're that important to me. I'll send you some viruses. Don't worry. I'm kidding. Totally kidding. But it's just there's too many questions that are unanswered, and I'm sorry, when the FBI says, oh, we're not going to even look into the possibility of foreign influences, it also means they're not going to be looking at Israel or AIPAC, and that's just to clear the air, right? Like, how hard would it be? I mean, of course, regardless of what you put out, no one's going to believe you these days. So I guess there's really no winning.
I have to say that there's a distinctive possibility that that's what they're claiming and not actually doing. And there actually are looking into the foreign influences.
It would make sense for a misdirection aspect, but I mean, yes. it even kind of works because everyone's like, fuck the FBI. They're just going to lie anyways. So you could use that to, an asset. You can make that an asset. Sure.
Yeah. Which I can't definitively say one way or another. I'm not even going to comment on the likelihood of it because I really don't know. But just thinking from, a investigation aspect, and if it does involve a foreign country, especially one that's supposed to be America's greatest ally, and you're coming to find out that they've been manipulating, doctoring, misinformation, and behind some of the greatest atrocities that occur on American soil in the last century. Not saying they are, but just if you come to find out that is, like, they are the ultimate perpetrators, and maybe even 9/11. Again, not making the claim. Then you have to be very careful in how you investigate it and how you present that information. Because the moment you release or make any comment to allude to the fact from an official government source, such as Castro Patel, even the president himself, that Israel was behind, Charlie Kirk assassination, World War III begins immediately.
Why?
Because at that moment, Israel will lose its shield, and the rest of the Muslim world will pounce.
Yeah, but isn't it? I see that this is where the Jewish people and Christians, right? I mean, essentially, like we can't really talk about Israel without talking about Judaism or Jewish people. Mm-hmm. It's just it's just what it is. So it's hard. We have to reference the people instead of just the country. But outside of, there's theological differences, but the overarching desire or intention of the religions is for life, allegedly. And I say allegedly just because I don't know if there's any kind of Israel ties to feminism, just to be safe.
I'm not 100% sure what you're going with here. I'm confused. I mean, I've gotten to it yet, but I'm confused.
I hadn't gotten to it yet.
Okay, sorry.
What did I say?
The religions, both about life.
Right. So it's the common ground that they have that makes them allies, because, I use the abortion debate, for example. We want to see life thrive. We have the same Old Testament theology understanding, right? They just don't prescribe to who Jesus is. They viewed him as more of a political figure than the Messiah. But that's the overlap that gives, I don't know, the best relationship between the two. But yeah, without U.S. support, I'm pretty sure Israel would just get destroyed by
they
Middle
get
East.
rolled over, 100%. Because the moment, if America were to come out and say that we are no longer supporting Israel in any way, shape, or form because they are behind all these attacks of manipulation and everything else, and the government admits to it openly, because they may already know, but they're just not admitting to it because of reasons I've already stated, then that's it. So the question is who's going to come to the defense of Israel outside the United States? Maybe Europe? Of course, now Europe's being overtaken by...
Europe's not going to. I mean, maybe specific countries in Europe, maybe Italy, maybe Poland. Outside of that, I don't think anybody would.
No, because of the whole Palestinian, war and everything else, and the genocide and everything that, they're all yelling and espousing, and the voting in the UN, especially the Security Council.
But do you see how this whole situation crept up because they gave up their moral authority that we were talking on earlier in the show?
Israel?
Yeah, because they responded to the October 7th attack, right? Whenever the paraglider came in and murdered a bunch of the people at the music festival.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Okay,
so
I see what you're saying.
That was the door that Israel started to use to go demolish and destroy Gaza, right? That was
I see what you're saying.
that was their Charlie Kirk moment to make a push. They ran that line too far, and they were like, well, we're just going to end it now. And if you, I mean, see, this is where you get into the ethics of it. If you are facing someone that only really wants to see you dead and will wait as long as is needed and will take any opportunity to do it, is it in everyone's benefit or just your benefit to completely remove it? But they lost the cultural or the social element of it. They lost the control of the narrative. And now multiple people are like, I can acknowledge that that innocent people were getting killed, right?
Yeah.
But that's looking at the Free Palestine, they're being attacked by Israel. They do this all the time, but they were responding to October 7th. But then again, the whole feud's been going back for hundreds, thousands of years.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know the exact time frame, but at least like 800 or something years, yeah. But ultimately, well, one, you got to, Charlie, even though this is probably one of the reasons why, if it indeed Israel is behind it, why he was probably assassinated with Charlie Kirk, is that he asked the question, was a stand-down order issued? Which, from what I understand, the answer is yes. And so they allowed an attack to occur.
But it's not, I don't
that assumption.
See, I don't even think, I think it's about much bigger than that, because look at the amount of influence Charlie was already cultivating. Look at how many young minds he was able to plant any idea that he wanted into. Like the college students right now in the Turning Point USA are prime targets for propaganda.
Yes. Oh, I 100% agree with you. I do think that, I guess what I'm saying is, how do I say this? Essentially, Charlie Kirk hit the critical mass. And they realized that they didn't act immediately, it was going to get out of hand, even further outside their control, or even get to the point where they can no longer recover.
Because he also stopped supporting Israel, right?
Supposedly, yes.
Okay.
But by asking that question to Ben Shapiro, that was the moment they decide that probably Ben, I mean, I'm not saying Ben was a part of the assassination, but if he is a part of this whole Israel regime inside the United States, so on and so forth, I wouldn't be surprised if he was the one who said, all right, this got to go. Because I've even seen, I've seen that exchange multiple times between them, and the expression, just some micro expressions that happened with Ben that you don't typically see. And then of course, a couple of days later, Charlie's gone. So again, not making any accusation, but there's a lot of weirdness with Ben Shapiro right now.
Speaking of Ben Shapiro, I have always had this scratching feeling in the back of my mind about the Daily Wire being a Fed asset.
I can see that.
I don't know why, but just like how successful they became, the money behind it, the religion of the people behind it.
It may not, I don't know if I would say Fed asset.
Yeah, that might not be the best.
I see the point. I see where you're going with that.
An asset for some other type of influence, but there's definitely some kind of unusual support behind it.
No, 100%.
At least with how it started, because it started with Ben Shapiro, California, Los Angeles, Jew.
How long ago was it?
A couple years. See, they came.
I
Daily Wire. Daily Wire came out it was around earlier COVID era, somewhere around there, I think. So maybe somewhere around there. I think it's whenever I started kind of queuing in, and then it
look something up real quick.
Yeah, the rocket launched from there. Don't worry, Daily Wire. I'm not accusing you of being Mossad agent.
September 21st, 2015.
Okay.
Shortly before Trump was elected. That's significant.
It's significant.
You have just made a connection that I don't think you really realize you've made.
What did I accidentally do?
How many presidencies has Trump actually been the president for?
Allegedly, too. Well, one.
You know how I brought up earlier about the whole QAnon thing and how a lot of, I mean, again, I'm going to make that very clear. I'm not saying I believe it, but there's a lot of weirdness to the deltas and how the dates are lining up. Even the times of the posts are lining up.
Okay.
So if what I understand about the QAnon phenomenon, the Q phenomenon, again, not referencing our boy Q here, but you know, the military, supposedly
Yeah.
military operation,
Not me.
is that from what I've researched and what I have seen is that the military, high-ranking military, certain members who were not part of the Biden leftist regime inside the military, is like a separatist, constitutionalist sect, I guess, inside the military, went to Trump shortly after he was elected and asked to be the commander of their little organization. And Trump has been the guy who has been supposedly, again, this is in the QAnon world, supposedly directing the now going on 10-year military operation that started around at the time he was, elected president. And actually more than 9 years. And this whole thing with the QAnons, has been a script that they have been working with other world leaders to include President Putin, to include Xi Jinping of China, to include Japan, South Korea, and a lot of other leaders that have been working together to dismantle the quote deep state and the banking cartel, world banking cartel. And the fact that you said that and the launch date is September 21st, 2015. And this is shortly before, got my months mixed up, Trump was elected. That's a coincidence. That's a major coincidence.
It's definitely something to look at.
Yeah. Again, I'm not saying that I believe it, but there's a lot of weirdness that my analyst brain cannot just walk away from when it comes to talking about the QAnon. And I mean, I went and looked at some of the drops and was reading through some of the stuff. A lot of it is fluff. A lot of it is interpretation that people are taking versus, what the post actually is. Maybe. And again, it's if this really was some kind of military intelligence operation, it's coded. And I don't have enough information to decode it. But there's something with it. Because it's too coincidental. Too many dates line up, too many times line up, too many numerology bullshit that people are throwing at it is actually lining up. But again, it's interpretation.
Yeah, but I think the only way that you could even really start taking any of that stuff with a bit of salt would be to find someone who has been correct and has made logical, good arguments and is connected to reality.
Yeah, that's pretty much the reason why I'm not giving credence to it too much. But it's still like you have that itch or that feeling in the back of your mind about the Daily Wire. I have a feeling about Q that there's something to it. There's something there. There's a reason why that everything is aligning, even a small amount to it. Again, a broken clock is right twice a day.
Mm-hmm.
But this has been right more than twice a day when it comes to the Q stuff. But again, interpretation. Again, it's influence. It's propaganda. It could literally be that whoever Q is, they're going to come out and say, this is Q, this is why we did it. And it will create this sense of understanding across, the general populace, saying that we were in control this entire time. It could be complete bullshit, though.
I don't know, man.
So, like I said, I'm not saying I believe it. This is just within the framework of the QAnons.
I know.
This is kind of
I'm
what
just.
they're saying.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm just like trying to play it out in my head and like.
Well, I'm saying it more as for anyone who's listening to saying like I'm not personally believing this. I'm just again framework. So that's not for you. It's for other people who might try to take me out of context.
Oh, you didn't want to talk to me? Okay, fuck you too.
Well,
I'm kidding.
You know what I'm trying to say.
So yeah. Anyways, just lots of just one touch on that thing. Like I haven't, I'm aware of the Q stuff that you're talking about. It looks more like a thought exercise for critical thinking. As far as if you wanted to apply a practical lesson from it, you could look at it as critical thinking training.
That's one way to look at it.
Because you're not going to be able.
That's actually interesting.
Yeah, you're not going to find de facto, proof from it. You'll find coincidences. You'll chase rabbit holes, but then you'll also be like, wait, I've gone so far down this rabbit hole that my logic has departed from reality, and then there will be a real life event. You'll be like, oh wait, I was wrong. So, yeah, it's
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just there's a. I don't remember the name of it or the terminology or anything that goes with it, but there's a train of thought that when enough people begin to adamantly believe something, it actually manifests itself into existence.
Really?
And
I want people to adamantly believe that we are amazing and that they want to listen to us.
well, that kind of goes down multiple rabbit holes, but I guess one I can kind of allude to a bit is the the matrix thought, or the fact that we live in some kind of simulation and it's controlled by consciousness. And so if you're able to convince enough people to consciously look toward a direction, look at pieces of information, or come to a certain conclusion, it will actually manifest it into reality. This is actually something the CIA has looked into and researched. I think it was, what was that? I think it was MK Ultra, a version of it, where they were trying to figure out how to manipulate reality. And I'm not saying it's fact, but the QAnon could be something along those lines, where they are trying to exploit that code in the matrix, so to speak, in order to manifest a reality. So
it's completely reasonable. I mean, MK Ultra is real. We know that it's fucking real. It's interesting.
Yeah. Well, it's just one of those things I think about. Again, necessarily believe, but I do process because it's interesting to me. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, hell yeah, man. I think that kind of wraps up what we have for this, because I don't think we're going to be able to get in that last section. We'll move that to next week because it kind of works anyways. Is there anything that you would like to tell everybody before we get out of here?
One thing I'd like to say is again, like we have the 5th coming up and supposable, mass unrest and surrounding the White House and different Capitol buildings in DC. I don't think it's going to come to pass. I could be wrong, but we'll see what happens. But something I think is going to happen within the next few days that's going to prevent or at least not allow that mass unrest to occur. I could begin to allude to multiple different things that could happen, but I'm not even going to try. But I do think, again, mostly I'm saying this to be safe. And if anyone actually listens to this before an event occurs, be safe. Hope you have some food. And if for whatever reason that the internet goes down for a certain period of time and we're not able to do this, good luck. Wish you guys the best. Stay safe.
Damn, you're going apocalyptic with that shit. Also, make sure that you're stocked up on food and supplies if you can, and be aware of people looting, robbing, stealing, threatening people over the next couple of weeks, or we'll see how this EBT struggle session goes. If it continues and it gets worse, just be attention to the environment around you. All right. Well, that will be it. We'll go ahead and get out of here. And as I like to add on, as Brewer likes to say, be the rising ship to sink all the tides around you. What?
Damn it.
It's be the rising ship to sink all the tides around you. I mean, I nailed it. All right. Bye.
I'm just going to let you have it.